magnificence, and it's all about one city, from Stockport to Sale, Rochdale to Ramsbottom, on the Metrolink from Piccadilly to Deansgate, taking in the National Football Museum. A little refreshment maybe at Albert Schloss, then through to the Trafford Centre with nostalgic nods to Affleck's Palace, the Hacienda and Salford Lads Club. Manchester is magic, but the history of these two clubs makes this FA Cup final the best ever. It's City against United, it's blue against red, the noisy neighbours against the fallen giants, and it's live on Talksport with your commentary team of former England international Mickey Gray, former Ireland captain Andy Townsend, and first up, Jim Proudfoot.
Thank you, Adrian. Good afternoon to you for a match with few parallels, where the hype and hyperbole is justified, while some others have slipped by the wayside in the public consciousness. The 2023 FA Cup final is a game that will be talked about for years to come. A fitting occasion as Wembley celebrates 100 years of cup finals. The biggest ever? Well, you can make a case for it. But it was back in 1891 that these two sides first met as Newton Heath and Ardwick, the two leading Mancunian lights in the fledgling footballing scene. Now more than 130 years on, they meet in a cup final for the very first time. But the 190th episode of this crosstown rivalry isn't merely the highest profile instalment in the biannual clamour for parochial pride. It far transcends that, and even the silverware at stake. Because this is the day that one story will be enhanced at the direct expense of another, when one double will be done and another denied, when City can supplement their league title and move within 90 minutes of the treble, when United can deny them that opportunity and keep a special place in English footballing history uniquely theirs. For the Reds, this is about prevention as much as triumph. An FA Cup final for the ages. This is how they line up for Pep Guardiola's City. It's Ortega in goal, Walker, Diaz, Akanji, Stones and Rodri, Bernardo Silva, De Bruyne, Gundogan and Grealish, and Haaland. The Hayers in goal for Eric Ten Hag's United, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Lindelof and Shaw, Casemiro and Fred, Fernandes, Eriksson and Sancho, and Rashford. On the City bench, it's Ederson, Phillips, Ake, Laporte and Alvarez, Mahrez, Foden, Palmer and Lewis. The United subs are Butland, Maguire, Malacia, Dallow and Weghorst, Pellistri, Elanga, McTominay and Garnacho. The referee, Paul Tierney, who took charge of City's League Cup final success over Tottenham in 2021. Only ever been 6 players sent off in an FA Cup final, but 3 of them have played for one of these two Manchester clubs. One of the other 3 was sent off against them. Manchester United red shirts, black shorts will be kicking from left to right. Manchester City in their light blue shirts, I beg your pardon, and white shorts, defending the end away to our right-hand side that houses the Manchester City fans. And it is a typical cup final day, as we all remember them. Saturday, 3 o'clock in bright sunshine. Well, they say no instalment of a local rivalry is more important than the next one. Today, it's true. History to be made, history to be protected. The Manchester Derby, the FA Cup final, the game of games, and an extraordinary start. Oh my word! Manchester City are ahead, and it has taken them only 12 seconds. It's an extraordinary start. İlkay Gundogan pinging one in from the edge of the penalty area. Manchester City 1, Manchester United 0. The quickest goal in FA Cup final history, scored by İlkay Gundogan, and City lead in the blink of an eye.
Astonishing. What a start to the game. Most fans in the stadium haven't even sat down before they're back up on their feet, and they are just admiring and they are celebrating an absolutely stunning volley. It's a brilliant hit from İlkay Gundogan. The ball's bobbled around, it eventually drops to him. He's about 2-3 yards outside the box, and he just nails it. He absolutely flushes this volley. David De Gea, one of the most agile goalkeepers, doesn't even move. What a start.
It is, for an extraordinary game with so much riding on it, a quite literally unbelievable start to the match. Mickey Gray.
Well, I don't think anybody was expecting that. but that is just absolutely incredible. Talk about calming your nerves quickly. Well, what an incredible strike. And Andy touched on it. People are still trying to sit down, but that was just absolutely incredible. What a way to start an FA Cup final.
Do you know, you spend hours, Mick, don't you? You spend hours in big matches talking about your start, talking about how you get going on the biggest of stages and occasions. Well, United, all of those preparations have just been rocked inside 12 seconds.
Haaland claiming that he was fouled in the midfield as Manchester United bring it forward. The quickest goal in an FA Cup final prior to that, scored by Louis Saha after 25 seconds for Everton, but they lost that day. So a moment for Manchester United. But that is the quickest goal that many of us will ever have seen. Here's Haaland, laid back for Jack Grealish. Grealish a couple of yards in from the left-hand touchline. Back for Ilkay Gundogan. He finds Akanji. And then Akanji 10 yards inside his own half. Plays it back for Ruben Dias. Now to Kyle Walker on the Manchester City right. Kevin De Bruyne with a lovely turn, getting the better of Fred, who in these early stages has detailed him as best he can. De Bruyne found a way past him there, was then blocked off by Luke Shaw. And a free kick goes Manchester City's way, 10 yards outside the United penalty area. And over by the right-hand touchline. It's 1-0 to Manchester City. Gundogan's goal on 12 seconds. The difference between the two teams.
Oh, just the most explosive start to the first ever Manchester FA Cup final. Just incredible, really is. What I would say from United's point of view, they've not even had time to be disappointed to start badly. You can dust yourself down when you concede a goal in such fashion. You really can. You just move forward, get on with the game.
City with the free kick. Oh, it's into the side netting. As it was swung in from the right-hand side, it was Ruben Dias that came forward to meet it. Powering a header. In fact, it was Rodri, I think, that got the last touch. And De Gea was just stood and watching. And it could have been 2-0 to City in 3.5 minutes.
Could have been. And if it's the other side of the post, the goalkeeper's not getting it. Wide free kick, whipped in with great pace and accuracy, as you can imagine, from De Bruyne. And it's Rodri who gets in front of the whole pack of players on the corner of the 6-yard box. And that header is only fractionally wide. What can't happen, what mustn't happen for Manchester United is they concede again. Because I think to go 2 down to this particular City team, the way that they are, the way that they handle the ball on this hot day, it's going to be mountains to climb for United if they concede again.
Haaland playing the ball forward through the midfield out towards John Stones, and now Kyle Walker has it. And they're back to the heart of the Manchester City defence where Ruben Dias is in possession. He stops the ball on the halfway line, just trying to invite Christian Eriksen to making a challenge. Play forward towards Gundogan, who can turn neatly in the midfield and just leaves Casemiro sprawling for a moment. And City's goal scorer plays it out towards De Bruyne. Back from him to Walker and out to Kevin De Bruyne again. Great movement off the ball comes from John Stones, who will check back on the right-hand side of the penalty area. Lays it out towards De Bruyne, whose cross is headed away by Victor Lindelof. Out towards the City right-hand side where Walker's little header is brought down in the midfield. Manchester United have hardly had a kick so far. The opening 5 minutes of the game has been utterly dominated by Manchester City, thriving on that extraordinary start given to them by Ilkay Gundogan just 12 seconds in. Now Dias will play for Gundogan, popping it around the corner, but didn't get the direction right. Bruno Fernandes then gives it away. Grealish will be able to bring it forward here, edge of the penalty area, and he scuffed one wide of the near post. That De Gea going the wrong way for a moment, but he would have recovered in time had it been on target. It's 1-0 to Manchester City.
Yeah, Jack Grealish there, stepping inside on the right foot, getting towards the edge of the 18-yard box, has the shot. It was weak and it was off target. What United have got to have now is a little spell of possession. They've got to get Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, Eriksen. They've got to get those guys on the ball to start dictating a little more what's going on. Otherwise, again, this rampant City team will just keep coming at you, keep asking questions, and they dare not let them score again.
A long clearance comes from David De Gea. That's going to be chased after by Jadon Sancho, but will go out of play for a throw. What a sickener for Manchester United, a sickener for their supporters as well. Alex Crook is pitch side near that goal where Ilkay Gundogan blazed one in. He's right in front of the Manchester United fans. Alex?
Well, I don't know who are more shocked, Jim, those Manchester United fans behind me who were standing to silence for a good 2 minutes after that extraordinary start from City, or the players themselves, barring Casemiro, who was just saying to his teammates straight after the ball went in, we've got plenty of time here. This is a very quiet Manchester United side. Some of the players look absolutely shell-shocked.
Well, on Monday, it was won by a single goal, the League One playoff final, which came in the 123rd minute. There was no time then for Barnsley to get one back against Sheffield Wednesday. If you're going to concede a goal, if you concede it as early as they did, then at least you do have the vast majority of the game ahead of you. It has officially been timed. That goal has 13 seconds. And Manchester City, with Gundogan's 10th of the season, leading by a goal to nil. They're in possession over on the right-hand side. You're with Talksport, 142nd FA Cup final. City leading it. It's first ever Manchester derby, not the first greater Manchester derby for an FA Cup final, but the first between City and United, as the ball is over on the City right-hand side with Bernardo Silva. Haaland is in there and does well. A little fight ball that he's nodded down for Bernardo. Fred's able to bring it away, though, for Manchester United, and slips it forward towards Rashford. Good layoff from him. Worked by Bruno Fernandes out to the former City man, Jadon Sancho. It's back for Bruno Fernandes again. Layoff from Eriksen to Bruno once more around the edge of the penalty area. Now Casemiro sets the sights. It was going well wide. Stones kicks it away before it even gets to the edge of the box. United able to turn over possession and win the second ball again. Bruno Fernandes working down for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka into the feet of Fred on the edge of the penalty area. Fred to Casemiro, clipped in hopefully by him. Bruno Fernandes heading it. It hit the hand of Kyle Walker, but he was pushed in the back in the process as well by Bruno Fernandes, and he wasn't looking at the ball because Fernandes had headed it back towards the edge of the area. And it hit the back of Walker's hand. The penalty couldn't have been given, but the push has been.
Just looking at Erik ten Hag down below us with the fourth official, just contesting that one, shrugging his shoulders, wanted to know why. No, definite push in the back on Kyle Walker. That threw his arms up into the air. Ball hits his hand, absolutely not a penalty.
Well, there's only been one occasion all season where Manchester City have scored the first goal and ended up losing. It was against Manchester United at Old Trafford, where United scored 2 in the last 12 minutes of that last meeting back in January. There's Akanji bringing the ball forward now for City. Down this near touchline, which is the Manchester City left. City 1, Manchester United 0 here on Talksport. Kyle Walker in possession. He's 20 yards outside his own penalty area. Play forward into the feet of John Stones. He came off the bench in the City's last FA Cup final success. Starting today, Rodri. Now towards the City right for Bernardo Silva. Silva cutting in from that right flank. Left-footed ball worked across the edge of the area, but Wan-Bissaka's there to clear. Grealish waiting in space on the City left, but Akanji's worked it back towards a more central area instead for Ruben Diaz. He clips a long ball forward out of that Manchester City right. And he couldn't quite control it, and it runs out of play for a goal kick. City 1, Manchester United 0.
Well, again, what an incredible start to the game. I think what's crucial today, Mickey and I were speaking about this before the game, is that gap between United's back four and their midfield players. That gap must be narrow, that must be condensed, and it mustn't be wide open. Otherwise City will start knocking the ball into that area where De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Gundogan, they'll get into it, as Gundogan did for his strike, for an incredible goal. Mickey?
I'm just shocked at Manchester United's system, Andy, with the way that City play. They're playing a 4-2-2-2. They can't get out. Their heads are in the floodlights. They don't really know what they're doing at the moment. They need a moment in the game, which they've not had in the first 11 minutes of this football match. And it's too easy for City just to control this game. Man United looks so nervous on the ball.
I was always worried, Jim, for United a little bit about when they don't have the ball, when they go out of possession, how much Jadon Sancho, how much Bruno Fernandes want to track. Perhaps Akanji, who will fly forward. Kyle Walker will do it occasionally. And that's the difference. City are ruthless. They do get to the edge of the box and they can really, really hurt you. So United now are in that very awkward area in a game. You've just conceded. You want to try and get back into it, but you dare not concede again.
Well, those are the thoughts of Andy Townsend, the former Ireland captain, Mickey Gray, the former England international. You listen to Manchester City against Manchester United in the FA Cup final. It's live on Talksport with Carling the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup. 18 plus, please drink responsibly. And Akanji is down hurt, holding his face. He's lying on the turf a couple of yards inside his own half.
Yeah, he's in a lot of distress there, Manuel Akanji. And just looking at a replay on our monitors here of that challenge, it was Casemiro stepped across, and I tell you, it's not a good tackle, that's a poor challenge, it's got to be said. He comes stepping across, his boot is raised, it's off the floor, it rakes down Manuel Akanji's shin. And of course, when your foot is planted on the floor, that's when your leg can buckle a little bit, that's when your ankle can get rolled, that's when your leg can get broken. And he's in a fair bit of discomfort as we speak, Manuel Akanji, just back up on his feet, but just walking gingerly back to his position.
Casemiro, a man that scored in the League Cup final, which was only the second domestic cup that he's ever won. He won the Copa del Rey back in 2014, hoping to win the FA Cup for all the success that he's had in continental football. Domestic silverware in terms of cup competitions has been hard for him to get. And they've got their work cut out again today, but a long way to go as Rafa Varane plays the ball forward. Wan-Bissaka will chase down the United right-hand side. Akanji's okay after receiving that treatment. He's done very well there to shepherd the ball out of play, and the pressure from Wan-Bissaka over the last 5 or 6 yards, just keeping his body between Wan-Bissaka and the ball and letting the ball do the work, going over the line and out of play for a goal kick that'll be taken away to our right-hand side by Manchester City and by Ruben Dias rather than by Ortega. Diaz just spotting the ball down and playing it out of the penalty area towards Akanji. City coming into this on the back of 2 games without a win, when the Manchester City side had been much rotated, but they won 18 of the 20 prior to that. United, for their part, 4 wins in a row, a form which saw them cement 3rd place in the Premier League. And despite the fact that they've got that top 3 finish and have got 1 cup and a place in another final, is very much a transitional season for them. Clearance comes from De Gea. It was a low skidder. Fernandes couldn't control it. Does break for Eriksen. Eriksen tried to divert it through the midfield, couldn't squeeze it past Bernardo Silva.
He keeps flicking it, Bruno Fernandes, get hold of the ball. Every time the ball comes into him, he's trying to flick it round the corner. Start getting hold of the thing. Start dragging those blue shirts towards you when you've got it under good control, and then you can perhaps skip round them with a little 1-2.
Now United can work it forward, long through the middle. Rashford down to the right-hand side here for Jadon Sancho. Sancho with tricky feet on the edge of the area. Rashford couldn't find a way through. Kanji's going to be able to clear. Flicked on by Casemiro. Sancho tried to help it on inside the penalty area. City defending mob handily will get it away. They almost gave it straight back to United, but Grealish has done well. And then Gundogan saw a Bruno Fernandes challenge coming. He jumped out of the way of it. And Bruno got the last touch and put it out of play for a throw that will be taken on the Manchester City left-hand side. 14 minutes gone.
That's better. That's United squeezing, pressing, which they're going to have to do. Got to make sure they get it right when they switch that press on United, that they're all there, that they are really going after it collectively, and then making sure that when they drop away, when they decide to let City have it, they do, and that they're all absolutely aware of where they should be. That's crucial for them now, United. The fundamentals, the basics, they have to get them right. If they're not, City will find a way. They'll expose a weakness.
Rodri plays it out towards Kyle Walker on the Manchester City right-hand side. The far 15 yards or so coming in from the far touchline are in shadow. And nearly all of the rest of the pitch is bathed in sunshine. The City penalty area, the one exception to that, but hot, strength-sapping conditions on what is a bigger pitch than normal. Stones has it in the midfield. What a season he has had in this new hybrid role. Played for by Diaz. Haaland taking it on the turn, fouled by Fred. And it's a free kick that will be taken by City inside the Manchester United half of the centre circle. Mickey Graham.
Well, City is so comfortable, Jim, because they're being able to play at their pace. Obviously getting off to the perfect start, but these wide positions are a concern for me, and Jack Grealish has not really grown into the game as of yet, but there's so much space because United are trying to get out with their fullbacks. Very difficult for them to get over the halfway line, and when they do, if they keep giving the ball away like they have done, that is where City are going to capitalise and punish them with Silva on the right-hand side and Grealish over on this left.
Haaland drops short, wants the ball into feet and gets it and pops it off straight away. Now Gundogan's got it facing up. Haaland's on the slide. He just couldn't divert it either side of De Gea. It was a very well-worked move. Just continued his run, and Gundogan, having received the ball, curved one in with the instep of the right boot. Haaland goal side of the United defence, but he was on the stretch, and he just couldn't get decent contact on it.
I mean, for him, it goes down as a chance. He's just stretching for it, but it's a fabulous ball from Gundogan, who lovely 30-yard pass threaded through the eye of the needle.
A very well-timed run as well. United working forward at the other end, and Sancho can't get on the end of a long ball fall from Bruno Fernandes. It goes back for Ortega, who wants one touch too many, but has just been able to dig it out from inside his 6-yard box. And City will bring it away with the Kanji. De Bruyne for Gundogan. Grealish in space on the left. De Bruyne's touch a little bit heavy, which is a collector's item, and then a free kick is given after a foul by him on Wan-Bissaka, which will be taken about 5 yards inside the Manchester United half. Andy, what is the message here from Erik ten Hag as United try and just get a foothold in this game?
Yeah, again, you have to accept disappointment. You've got to shrug that off. When it happens as early as it did, in the nature that it did, I think that's a little easier to accept as opposed to conceding in the 10th minute and you haven't really had a kick and you're not really getting up to speed. It's just in the blink of an eye, you're one down. So you just have to reset. You have to stick to what you've done all week in preparing for a game like this. You've just got to keep believing in that message and hope that gradually you'll start to find a way into the game. The flip side of that for City, they're one up without even really doing anything in the game, just serving one ball forward and it's in the back of the net. Obviously, when you play Man City and you go behind, because of the nature of their possession-based football, it can wear you down. They can start to eventually just disrupt their opponents and play through them and pick them off at will. We'll see if that happens, but for the time being, United have just got to keep sticking to their game plan, believe in what they've spoke about and hope that they wait for a moment.
Luke Shaw over on the far touchline stops Kevin De Bruyne getting a run towards the ball. And it goes out of play for a United throw, which is taken short for Lindelof. Now Casemiro helping it forward, and City able to win it back. Haaland emerging through the centre circle, that long ranging stride, taking him away from Bruno Fernandes, who then turned and went back towards Akanji. And he trots a little bit languidly to take his place between the two Manchester United centre halves as City work it in a much deeper area, back around the edge of their own penalty area with Ortega, who has started every tie in this FA Cup run this season. Edison came off the bench when Ortega got injured at Bristol City. But Manchester City, I'm sure you'll be aware, haven't conceded a single goal in this FA Cup run yet this season. The last player to score against them in the FA Cup was Sadio Mane for Liverpool in the semis last season. And they've now got 18 without reply in this cup run, including the one today, which gives them a lead. Scored by Ilkay Gundogan 13 seconds in. We've now played 19 minutes and still City 1, United 0.
Yeah, and just watching the goalkeeper Ortega there, whenever the ball goes back to him, no panic, he doesn't get flustered at all, and just clipping a ball when the United press starts to happen, clipping a ball forward perfectly into Erling Haaland, who's fouled on the halfway line, and City again have the ball. So that's why Pep is happy for him to play the amount of games that he has done, is because when that ball's at his feet, he doesn't panic, he can play, and I think others around him trust him. The minute you've got a goalkeeper in there with the ball at his feet who's a little unsure, then it will disrupt everything to what City really do and believe in. But Ortega looks more than capable with the ball at his feet, it really does.
David De Gea's got the ball at his feet now, just everything's slowing right down again. Anyway, Gundogan pays lip service at applying a press as it worked forward. The City then win the seconds inside their own half. Turn forward towards Haaland. It's a great turn. Haaland gets a shot in. It's a rising drive that doesn't clear the bar by much. Sighted goal, his second of the game. He can't hit the target. It stays 1-0.
Yeah, he receives the ball there, Erling Haaland, 35 yards out with his back to goal. And then just turns out. Red shirts are close to him. They're desperately trying to get a tackle in. They couldn't. He hits it from way outside the box, probably 23, 24 yards out by the time he actually lets fly with this one. And it goes harmlessly over the top, but just a little message there from Erling Haaland that given any sort of opportunity, he's going to try and work De Gea.
And now United will play out from the back. Ball into the feet of Varane. Varane to Fred. Back for De Gea, out from De Gea to Victor Lindelof, who has done so well over the last few weeks, playing in this position on the left of the two centre-halves. Shaw turns it forward, walking really strongly on Bruno Fernandes. But the loose ball will emerge back into the United penalty area, just in front of where Talksport's football correspondent Alex Crook is sitting in the sunshine. Crookie, you mentioned after the goal went in, the United fans behind you shell-shocked. Have they got their heads around it yet?
I wouldn't say they fully have, Jim, to be honest. I think they're waiting for that moment that Mickey talked about, where their team give them something to get excited about. You can see why they want Mason Mount so much. This midfield combination for me is all wrong. There's no legs and there's no real determination either in there at the moment.
Wan-Bissaka looking for Jadon Sancho here. It goes back for Ortega. Ortega with 2-3 touches. Then he had time for a fourth.
Brilliant.
Just chipped it out towards Kevin De Bruyne. What a pass it was. And it set up a counter-attack, 3 against 3. Haaland sprints to the right of De Bruyne, making a run into the middle. He made that run so early that De Bruyne knew he was offside. Then he ran down a blind alley. United will bring it away and then promptly give it away with Wan-Bissaka's hopeful ball down the inside right channel. Rashford chasing after it, and it goes out of play for what has been given as a goal kick. I think a few of the United players and fans thought that might have been a corner, but goal kick given and City take it quickly.
I did too. I thought it come off Ruben Diaz last off. Marcus Rashford there, shoulder to shoulder with Diaz, over 30 yards. Looked like he's got the better of him pace-wise. We haven't seen enough of Rashford yet. United now got to find ways to get him involved a little bit more. The ball from Aaron Wan-Bissaka to him down the line wasn't a good one. He chased after it gamely, and I think it was a little unlucky that a corner wasn't given.
It was Rashford that scored the winner in the last Manchester derby, which was the 17th that he has played in his career. United have it at the back again with Varane. Now to Eriksen's dropped that little bit deeper and turns it forward towards Bruno Fernandes. Out to Aaron Wan-Bissaka again. Wan-Bissaka yarning from the right-hand touchline. Stops the ball, turns it square across the face of Akanji to feed Casemiro. Sancho, Eriksen. This is better from United, who will play it out towards Luke Shaw. 10 yards outside the penalty area. Shaw for Fred. Fred near the corner of the box. Sancho has it. Faced up by Rodri. He's laid it back for Bruno Fernandes. Eriksen clipping it right-footed down to Wan-Bissaka again. City shuffle across. Casemiro with the ball in. Little flick header goes wide from Rashford. Half chance, nothing more than that. Ortega trotting across his line, probably would have had it covered anyway. Didn't get the power.
Yeah, that wasn't the best ball in from Casemiro. Whipped first time from about 10 yards outside the box towards Marcus Rashford, who was a yard above the penalty spot. Not an easy one for him on his head to try and get enough power on that one.
But a significant moment here for Manchester United. Alex Crook, David De Gea down here.
Very alarming, Jimmy. Went down. Obviously, the ball was nowhere near him. It was just at the end of that last Manchester United attack. He slumped to the ground, immediately signalled to the assistant referee on that far left-hand side that he was in some distress. He's being treated. This will be a major blow if David De Gea cannot continue this FA Cup final.
Well, Jack Butland is the substitute goalkeeper. Hasn't played for Manchester United yet since he signed on loan from Palace. He did play in the semi-finals last season for the Eagles, but he hasn't played at all since May last year. So just over 12 months since his last appearance. He's out there warming up. What do you reckon, Mickey Gray, as you have a look at the treatment that David De Gea is receiving here?
Well, I'm interested in this, Jim, because if you think 30 seconds prior to that, he didn't take the goal kick. Victor Lindelof went across and took the goal kick, and David didn't want to play that long ball. It's not worked for him. He's not found any of his United teammates. But this in front of us right now, with Erik ten Hag speaking to the rest of the team, is probably the most important 2 or 3 minutes he's going to get with his team, because they've not started the game well. They've not been able to get out. So I just wonder whether the manager changes something to try and capitalise on what City are doing to United.
OK, Mick, if you were the manager, what would you do? How do you change it?
I think they're playing too narrow. I said it. I think it looks to me it's a 4-2-2-2, and you can see what City are trying to do. They play that ball into midfield, and the next one's a reverse pass around the corner to one of the fullbacks, and then City are out. Kevin De Bruyne, Gundogan are getting on the ball too easy, and Erling Haaland's coming short and spinning in behind. We know he's got the pace to do it. They should have worked on this, Man United. They've beaten them before at Old Trafford. Why he's had to change it up, Erik ten Hag, really baffles me.
What they're doing is they're sitting Casemiro on Gundogan, they're sitting Fred on De Bruyne. Those two number 10s that City operate so cleverly. So the two United players are having to be quite disciplined. And then what they're doing, they're dragging the rest of those United forward players onto them. They're doing it right now as we speak, very successfully at the back, going back to Ortega, And now Akanji's out and Bruno Fernandes is scampering back to try and recover, and he can't.
And but for a poor ball from Akanji, City might have been in again there. De Gea is continuing for now. Butland, having had a bit of a warm-up, will come back and sit down for Manchester United, and De Gea is going to give it a few minutes and see whether he's going to be in a position that he can continue.
Did you see him do that, Jim? Whatever it is De Gea did. I didn't. He must have, because he's clipped a couple of balls forward. Again, we know David De Gea isn't the most accomplished with the ball at his feet. And whether he's just sort of slapped one a little bit and serving it forward, and he's felt a little tweak at the base of his hamstring. But if he has, then that's big problems for United. That really is, because as you said, Jack Butland, since he's gone to United, hasn't had a taste of it at all.
Well, De Gea in his 28th at Manchester derby today. Here's Ilkay Gundogan, back for Jack Grealish on the Manchester City left. Now towards Akanji. Gundogan, the man that scored the goal, of course, could be leaving Manchester City in the summer, and he's going to be leaving them in such sensational form. Scored a goal here at Wembley 10 years ago in the Champions League final, and he scored the quickest ever FA Cup final goal today. Kevin De Bruyne. Back out towards Bernardo Silva. Silva back for De Bruyne again. This is a central position. He's gone for goal, and De Gea diving to his left-hand side. Probably just had it covered. It whistled past him away.
Yep, good play from City. Bernardo Silva hugging the touchline on the far side. The ball played out to him. He then rolls it into Kevin De Bruyne. Travels a couple of yards, gets the ball onto his left foot, hits it from distance, and it's a yard wide of the post.
Again, De Gea has no thought about taking the goal kick. It's knocked short to him by Lindelof, and then he has to try and ping it forward. He didn't get great distance on it. City winning it back straight away, but United will be able to bring it away, and Bruno Fernandes will play it for. It's a good ball as well. Ortega off his line for a moment. It fell for Rashford, but he had two City players around him very quickly, which denied him the opportunity to get a first-time shot in. Back he goes for Wan-Bissaka, making his way forward down the United right to Rashford to Casemiro, and back again. Casemiro then with a neat little turn into the feet of Wan-Bissaka. Poor ball from him, off balance, and City are going to be able to bring it away. De Bruyne will sprint forward on the left-hand side, and Bernardo Silva can't find him. And that means that Varane will just step up from the defensive line, bring it under control, and get Manchester United going again.
Yeah, lucky there, Bernardo Silva, lovely run. Just couldn't quite find the pass on the end of it. United now pressing some 35-40 yards. Casemiro with the ball at his feet.
Finding Fred in the FA Cup final on Talksport, where Manchester United trail City 1-0. Wan-Bissaka with a little header that took a little deflection on its way through. But straight into the hands of Ortega, who pushed forward to the edge of the penalty area. The United players claiming that there was a hand in there. VAR today is David Coote, and I'm sure that he will have had a look at it, but probably needed nothing more than a cursory glance at that one. 1-0 City.
The reason why they're complaining there, United, was none of them got in the box, none of them gambled. Great run from Aaron Wan-Bissaka, good pass that found him on the overlap. Grealish was tracking the run, and the United fullbacks gets his head on it, nods it across the 6-yard line. Not a red shirt in sight. They've got to commit people. When the time is right, you've got to make sure you've got numbers in the box. You're not gonna hurt Man City if you're hitting everything from distance. You've got to make sure you get people in there.
1-0 in the FA Cup final. Now the referee, having looked at that, is now going to go over and have a look at the monitor, and this could be a penalty for United. So this is that handball chat, I imagine.
Well, it was Jack Grealish who tracked the run from Wan-Bissaka. I mean, it's 30 seconds ago.
At least.
And Paul Tierney is now, as you say, Jim, going over to the monitor. It was a good run, I mentioned, a great run from Wan-Bissaka. Let's have a look at how now Jack Grealish is 1.5 yards away from him. He looks like a couple of yards away from him, as we're just seeing a still image at the moment. Let's have a look. Grealish tries to head the ball, and it hits his hand. It does hit his hand. He's not even, I mean, how much does he know about that? Nothing, in my opinion.
So the ball has sailed over his head, it has hit his hand, and the referee, having looked at the monitor, is going to give a penalty to Manchester United.
Oh, I find that incredible, astonishing decision, that is. I'm sorry, that is just unbelievable. Jack Grealish is watching the ball. It just beats him by an inch or two. Wan-Bissaka is about 4 or 5 feet behind him, heads it, and Grealish's hand is up in the air. And of course it's up in the air, guys, because he's just tried to head it. Oh, I mean, I find that harsh in the extreme. But what a game-changing moment it could possibly be for Manchester United.
Well, Grealish is far from happy. It's a very, very controversial decision. It's one that will divide everybody. And on the basis that it's one that will divide everybody, you have to say that you couldn't describe it as a clear and obvious error, the non-award of the penalty.
Yeah, but he didn't give it, Jim. He's been told to go and have a look.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So
he's been told to have a look.
It's supposed to be a clear and obvious error would be overturned, would make the decision invalid. The bottom line is Bruno Fernandes has the opportunity to make it 1-1 from the penalty spot. Scored in the last meeting of these two. Fernandes scored 3 out of 3 penalties this season. You can make that 4 out of 4. Slow run up and he tucks it past the diving Ortega into the bottom left-hand corner. Manchester United had a torrid start to this game, but they are now back on level terms. Controversially, Manchester City 1, Manchester United 1.
Great penalty. And look, he's got that little staggering, tippy-toed sort of run up to it. Beg your pardon, Bruno Fernandes, but it finds its way into the corner of the net. He's run away and celebrated in front of the City fans over on the far side. And all the United players are still there. I'm not sure exactly what's gone on. Here's the United player that was on the floor. He's back up on his feet. I'm seeing the incident again. I mean, it's the most astonishing handball you can ever see. If you jump for a ball, right, and you're about to land, just do it at home. Do it now. Jump up in the air, and as you come down, your hands will be up in the air. That's where they go. And then Aaron Wan-Bissaka has just headed it, and it's hit Grealish's hand from literally 3 foot away. I am astounded that one has been given.
What is it with VAR and these two teams? It's just incredible, Jim, isn't it? I mean, I'm with you, Andy. I'm with you, Jim, as well. I think we're all on the same page. Jack's done nothing wrong. He's tried to get back and help out his teammates just to clear his lines. Yes, he mistimed the header, but Aaron Wan-Bissaka just basically kept the ball alive, and Jack cannot, from what, 3 or 4 inches away from his hand, he cannot move his hand out of the way. He's not even looking at it. And that is a huge lifeline for Manchester United in this FA Cup tie, because from this moment, they've done absolutely nothing in the first 30 minutes of this game.
Here's Jack Grealish bringing it forward for Manchester City. Goes for Gundogan. Gundogan clipping inside the penalty area, headed back. Kevin De Bruyne is onto it, and he's clipped it over the bar and out of play for a goal kick. It's Manchester City 1, Manchester United 1. Let's go pitch side and speak to our correspondent, Alex Crew.
Totally different feel behind this goal now, Jim. There was a big red flare that erupted, all the Manchester United fans on their feet. We're Man United, we're never going to stop, is the song they've been chanting. Big cheer as that cross from De Bruyne sailed over the crossbar. Is that a massive game changer, you wonder? It certainly is in terms of the noise behind me.
Bruno Fernandes' 14th goal of the season, and it is a decision that will be talked about at great length, depending, of course, on the exact ramifications of it, and depending on who lifts the cup later today. But 1-1, I don't think there are many neutrals that would have anticipated that was a penalty.
Jim, that's where we have to hear that conversation. We have a right to hear what's been said there, and who is, because somebody there alerts the referee that yes, it could be a penalty, and I'd love to know what is actually said at that particular point, whether the referee himself says, yeah, that's a pen, I think I've got to give that, or somebody else is encouraging him to give it. And there's a difference there, and I think that's why we have to now know, we have to hear what's being said. And I know Howard Webb is pro it, he's for it. When he was on with Jim White and Simon Jordan, I was listening to him, and he said, yep, it'll come, no doubt it will, maybe not just yet. But we do need it, we really do, because for calls like that one, that's huge. And I, for one, would love to know why. And the blue half of Manchester at the moment would love to know why.
So, the ball did hit Grealish's hand, there is no doubt about that. And it is, the arm is away from the side of his body, but I can't understand how anybody could think that that wasn't in a natural position for what he was doing.
Yeah.
And then the ball hits him from such close range, he's got absolutely no chance. Anyway, it's in the books. It's a penalty scored by Fernandes, and it is 1-1. It's the first goal that Manchester City have conceded in the FA Cup this season. The ball is out of play for a throw that will be taken by Akanji on the City left. And when United were creating very little, it didn't look as though those two moments, that the Haaland one that came close when he was on the stretch and couldn't divert it past De Gea, the other opportunity that came their way and was narrowly wide from Rodri, didn't look as though they would be too costly errors, but they might end up in 1-1 the score. Rodri playing it out towards Kevin De Bruyne. De Bruyne slipping it forward for Stones. Now Bernardo Silva has it. Back for Stones again on the right-hand side of the penalty area, and the first corner of the game goes Manchester City's way. Stones' cross is deflected away.
Just watching Rodri as the City fans roar at that corner, just looking at him, turning around to his teammates. Come on, let's pick it up again. Let's get it going. Let's get our football going. Let's start to make it happen. We've got to reset themselves now, City, and again get back to where they were, playing with authority and creating situations for Haaland, De Bruyne and Gundogan in particular in those forward areas.
So corner to be taken on the Manchester City right. It's knocked in short. Back out towards De Bruyne, clipping it in with the outside of the right boot and almost finding Haaland. A good defensive header by Casemiro at the near post gets it away for United. It will sail forward towards halfway. Walker is there and will flick it down and play it out towards Bernardo Silva. Now, this is only the 9th of the last 31 FA Cup finals in which both teams have scored. And the first goal so often has made a huge difference. Not necessarily today. 6 times a century, the side that has gone 1-0 down has ended up lifting the cup. Will it again today? Akanji clipping in, looking for Haaland. Oh, mistake by Fred inside his own penalty area. Just about able to rescue it as the Stones put the pressure on. United will clear, brought down in the centre circle by Diaz for City. Now towards Walker. And Walker bringing the ball forward into the shadow over on the far touchline for Bernardo Silva. 1-1 in what has been a dramatic and controversial first half to the 142nd FA Cup final here on Talksport. Grealish back to the edge of the penalty area for Gundogan, to Jack Grealish again. Grealish level with the penalty spot, flicking it in. It's Stones making the run, trying to put it on the plate, but De Bruyne has gone down. Referee says no penalty. VAR might have a look at that as well. Carl Walker will be able to bring it back under control. And Pep is right in the face of fourth official Peter Banks and is absolutely convinced that should have been a penalty. De Bruyne going down inside the penalty area.
Yep.
Play continues for now.
Yeah, great run from John Stones, who's played very well. Got to say, John Stones is picking his moments to run forward really intelligently. He gets to the byline, cuts it back, where De Bruyne walking onto it on his left foot. Looks like he's going to hit it, and then there's a coming together. Was he fouled? Was he looking for a little bit more? We'll see.
Well, still play continues. And now it will stop for a free kick that's been given United's way. Marcus Rashford was back and was fouled. And there was actually a foul before that as well. The referee played the advantage, but it will be a free kick to Manchester United. And the fact that referee Tierney isn't asking for a break in play here suggests that the De Bruyne incident has been checked and cleared, and it won't be the second penalty of the game.
No, Casemiro actually down on the floor on the receiving end of a challenge. I'm just watching it now on our monitors. Let's have a look. De Bruyne, I tell you what, Fred sticks his left foot out and catches Kevin De Bruyne. He's a little slow, Fred, in reacting to the ball coming back. I mean, look, I've seen him given for less. I certainly have seen him given for less than that.
Seen him given for less than that this afternoon. Here's Eriksen playing it back for Varane. Varane on the edge of the centre circle will go back towards Victor Lindelof. Nicky, you've had a look at that replay as well. What do you reckon?
I think if Kevin De Bruyne makes contact with the ball, he's got a bigger shout. I think it's because he doesn't touch it, because of Fred getting his body in front of Kevin De Bruyne. I think is why the referee Paul Tierney waves that one away. What was interesting straight after that was Pep Guardiola down in the technical area alongside Erik ten Hag going absolutely crazy. Yeah,
applying pressure, which you can imagine he's going to. He felt the full force of that Grealish decision. So of course managers, they will just apply a bit of pressure in the right way. I mean, it's a high pressure game, so you can expect a bit from the managers down there.
Now De Bruyne with a pass that misses Stones in the midfield, and Marcus Rashford will be able to put his foot on the ball and find Sancho. Sancho to Casemiro. Sancho continuing his run forward, gets the return pass. Now Rashford on the corner of the penalty area. He'll make his way forward. The angle's tight. It ricochets back off him twice, and the corner has been given. No complaints from the City players. The second touch must have come after he was already over the line.
Yeah.
So this is United's first corner, and Eriksen will take it.
40 odd minutes into the game. First time really we've seen Marcus Rashford with the ball at his feet, travelling with it, and just looking to take Ruben Dias on and run him into the box and maybe try and get the shot away. Didn't do that, but got his team a corner.
The corner which Eriksen will take. Wan-Bissaka is midway between the halfway line and the edge of the penalty area. Everybody else fought for United as Eriksen takes it. Near post flick, and it breaks for Varane on the edge of the 6-yard box. A hurried volley goes over the bar.
Big chance that, with respects to Rafa Varane. Anybody else might have stuck their foot on that and knocked that one in. That's a good chance. Ball whips in a little bit flat to the near post. A little glancing header from Casemiro. Varane runs from the penalty spot towards the far post, and on the edge of the 6-yard box gets his foot on it on the volley, just can't get it on target.
They never really looked convincing, Andy, did the United, from set pieces and corners because of the lack of height. You see what City have got at their disposal, but when it did come to Varane, probably just the wrong person. It was a great opportunity.
Gundogan playing it out towards the Manchester City right here. De Bruyne and Silva making their ways forward in combination, and then Shaw goes down inside his own penalty area. Bernardo Silva was claiming that he was pushed inside the box and it should be a penalty to City. Free kick has been given to United for the same incident. The referee deciding that Bernardo Silva was the instigator there.
Yep, Bernardo Silva it was, who actually just dropped it off to Kevin De Bruyne from that right touchline position, then darted infield. He just steals half a yard on Luke Shaw, who actually just is stronger than him and just gets his body in the right position to deny Bernardo Silva, who has a little swipe at Luke Shaw once the ball finally goes astray. But incredible. I'm just seeing another rerun. I would say Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Jack Grealish are about 2 feet apart. No more than that.
Jim, with your knowledge of being in that situation and seeing that, at the letter of the law, I know we're all maybe we're looking at it as ex-players thinking it's not a penalty, but do you think it is?
No, I don't think it is, because I think the arm is in a natural position, even though it is away from the silhouette. I think that because he's gone up for the header, which has just sailed past him, I don't see where else his arm is going to be. You can't jump with your arms by your side, as everybody always says.
Particularly, Jim, when the ball, Mick, when you're running backwards and the ball looks like it's going to beat you, you have to use your arms for a bit of leverage to get you off the floor that little bit extra.
Free kick to Manchester City here for an offside. 1-1 in the FA Cup final, which is fair to say is a better game than the Europa League final was the other night. The Women's Champions League final is underway as well. Wolfsburg leading that 2-0 against Barcelona. This Wednesday, West Ham in their first European final for 47 years. They face Fiorentina in Prague. We will, of course, be there. The Europa Conference League final presented by Adrian Durham, with the former Amazon England striker Dean Ashton alongside Sam Matterface. Wednesday, and then Saturday, City aim to win the Champions League for the first time. Will it be for the treble? They take on Inter Milan. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff next Saturday, and we will be at the Ataturk outside Istanbul, live on Talksport. We're in the final minute of a controversial first half here that's going to be supplemented by 4 additional minutes by way of stoppage time. It's 1-1. Gundogan on 13 seconds, and then Bruno Fernandes from the penalty spot after a handball by Jack Grealish on 32 minutes. Ruben Dias in possession, finding Rodri. It is a first half that has scampered by.
It certainly has, yeah. It's been such an intriguing watch. Can't take your eyes off it for a second.
Grealish finding Gundogan. And Gundogan clipping right-footed out towards Kyle Walker on the Manchester City right. It's got Bernardo Silva just trotting down the touchline, showing for the ball into feet. Work back instead. Now De Bruyne has got it. De Bruyne towards the edge of the penalty area. The Flamehead Belgium playing it in, knocked away though, took a deflection just in front of Casemiro and he could get it away. Rashford then working it forward. Manchester United with a chance for a counter-attack just for a moment before Jadon Sancho was fouled, and it's going to be a free kick which will be taken by United inside their own half, and a few boos and whistles from the United fans who thought that was a cheeky tactical foul.
Well, yeah, I think there's a little bit of that in it. Rodri made sure there Jadon Sancho wasn't going to poke a little 20-yard pass through the middle where United had a glut of red shirts running centrally. Mickey mentioned earlier about them being narrow. They are. Sometimes it's a 2, sometimes it looks like a diamond that they're playing in the middle of the park, but either way, it's a little narrow at times, but they're right back in the game.
Great free kick taken towards Rashford, who made a gallivanting run inside the penalty area, took defenders with him and they found him. It was played back towards Sancho. City half clear, Casemiro helping it back forward towards Luke Shaw, who got the last touch there. It was Silva to Manchester United throw near the edge of the City penalty area. 1-1 here on Talksport in the 190th Manchester derby, and just about the biggest of the lot. Ball is down by the corner flag. Walker trying to get it out of place, deflect it's back inside the area. Couple of touches from City players and they can eventually dig it clear through a Akanji, and out of play for a throw which will be taken on the Manchester United right. Well, they started this game so slowly, Manchester United, but if anything, they're ending the first 45 minutes the better of the two teams, certainly seeing more of the opposition final third.
Yeah, they've certainly had more of the ball, as you would expect. Now they've drawn breath and they've got themselves back on level terms. And I mentioned earlier on about United don't have to play well to win this cup today. They don't. What they've got to do, they've got to make sure the big moments come their way, they take them, and defensively they switch on at all times.
And now Rashford's found Grealish together between the two number 10s, and he wanted to take the free kick quickly, Jack Grealish, and Wan-Bissaka cheekily just walking back, flicked the ball away. No sanctions from the referee, and play will continue in the final of the 4 additional minutes at the end of the first half. Stones in possession in the heart of the Manchester City midfield, clipping one out towards Bernardo Silva, slightly high the pass, but what a take it was from him, as Andy was alluding to there. Brought it down almost on his left shoulder and flicked it back. And now it comes down towards Akanji. Akanji on the City left, and then Grealish is caught by Wan-Bissaka. Grealish trying to let the ball run past him, and Wan-Bissaka's going to get a yellow card for bringing Jack Grealish down. And City will end this first half with a set piece in a really good position, very much out towards the left-hand touchline. It's only about 5 yards shy of the edge of the penalty area.
A yellow card shown to Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who's protesting his innocence as we speak. The ball was played from a central position out to Jack Grealish, and I think Grealish thought Wan-Bissaka was going to intercept. He didn't quite get there. The momentum from Wan-Bissaka takes him through. He just clips Grealish. Nothing malicious in it at all. I think a yellow card is a bit harsh, I really do.
So what can City muster from this free kick? De Bruyne standing over the ball. 4 Manchester United players just in front of him. And now De Bruyne spots it down. He's got Bernardo Silva with him. Grealish walking away, feigning disinterest as he makes his way towards the edge of the D. Haaland, who has had a couple of half chances but hasn't been too heavily involved at all, is in there. Rodri, Stones, forward as well. Ruben Dias is a more than interested observer from where this is going. Bernardo comes to meet it and then walks away again. Everybody resets. Now Bernardo runs over it. De Bruyne clipping it in, right footed, too close to the goalkeeper. Easily claimed by David De Gea. 4 minutes of stoppage time are up, and De Gea's release of the ball will be the last touch of the first half. Well, it got off to an extraordinary start. It was full of controversy as well, with a handball by Jack Grealish. İlkay Gundogan scoring the quickest goal in FA Cup final history. Cancelled out by Fernandes penalty. Half-time, it's 1-1.
Well, what a fantastic, controversial, dramatic, exciting 45 minutes of football in this FA Cup final, live on Talksport. I really didn't want to talk about VAR, but I think I might have to. Let's take a look at the half-time highlights with Carling.
FA Cup half-time highlights on Talksport with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup.
Wow, what a start we had to this FA Cup final. If we just take a look at İlkay Gundogan, who takes the kick-off, believe it or not, straight back to the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper lumps it up, Wimbledon style. You wouldn't know it's Manchester City. Haaland wins the first ball. Actually, Lindelof wins the second, but heads it straight onto the foot of Gundogan, who volleys it in. But you've surely got to ask questions, Andy Townsend, of the goalkeeper. I mean, is he set? Is he ready? I've had a word with a goalkeeping coach who says he takes a step backwards. He really isn't ready. And yes, it's 12 seconds in, but he should be ready for a shot from Ilkay Gundogan.
Yeah, he's not set, that's for sure. He's not ready. He's come out to the 6-yard line and he starts to backpedal a little bit. And when you're backpedaling as a goalkeeper and someone hits one as accurately and as hard as what Gundogan did there, you can't then get your body weight across and up into the air to make any sort of save. So, no, the goalkeeper wasn't set, wasn't ready. He is literally seconds into the match. And just the most incredible start to this cup final. It really was, Adrian. What a wonderful goal. What a wonderful hit.
Wembley erupted. Well, half of it did anyway. And I think the Manchester United fans absolutely shell-shocked by that. But it's a brilliant hit from Gundogan, who's the City captain and maybe underrated. Pep's first ever signing. £20 million is all he costs. They go on about the multi-millions they spend, but some of their very best players, as we were saying earlier, cost next to nothing, relatively speaking. Also, I want to talk about the Casemiro red card, because Manchester United, they've had the decisions in this first half. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Whether you agree with some of the decisions or not, they've had it all go their way. He should be sent off for this, Casemiro. I cannot believe. And do you know what's happened here? Casemiro's gone down like he's injured. He's pretending to be injured. That should be, at best, a second yellow for feigning injury. But he should be sent off for the challenge originally, because it's an absolute shocker from Casemiro and Mickey Gray.
Well, I just think that boiled down to a little bit of frustration because they couldn't get themselves into the game, Adrian. But
he's got to go, though.
Does VAR have a look at that? Well, if they have a look at it, do they come up with a different decision?
Well, what have they seen that said, no, it's okay?
I mean, has he got away with that because he's rolled around on the ground himself?
That's what
I
I'm
think
thinking.
that boils down to frustration, not just from him, but I think for the whole of the Manchester United 11, because up to that point, they weren't in the game at all.
Well, so you've got City one up after a few seconds. Casemiro should have been sent off, and then we get to this Grealish handball. I won't show you it again because we've seen it time and time and time again. Tierney had the chance there, on-field referee, go over to the screen and be courageous and say, actually, I haven't made a mistake here. I'm going to back my original decision. David Coote, VAR, I'm okay, I think I got it right, so on we go. He had the chance to do that, and I so wish he had done, because it could change refereeing in this country. For me, VAR from day one has taken common sense out of football. Giving a penalty there does not make any sense whatsoever, Andy.
No, it doesn't. No, I'm totally with you. I am extremely surprised. I'm disappointed in lots of ways that we are now giving decisions that the guys, our referees, that we want to respect. We really do want to respect all our officials. They're a fundamental part of this business that we all love. But we fall out of love with those guys when they give calls like that, and we can't understand why they make calls like that. We need to know, we need to hear it. We've got to be all wired in and see exactly what's going on in these crucial moments, Adrian, because for the life of me, I don't understand how anybody turns around and says, yeah, that's a definite handball and deserves a pen.
I think personally that's where you need to know the game itself, Adrian, is in a football fan with knowledge, an ex-football player, because for all the life of me, I'm watching it, that move as it's happening, and Wan-Bissaka as he's made the header. And even in commentary, Andy and Jim continued with the commentary because they didn't think it was going to be a penalty, but then 30 or 40 seconds later, he was called across to the side, Paul Tierney, to go and have a look at it. Possible penalty. It's not. Jack, you can see, I mean, he goes up to try and win the ball, to clear his lines. He turns his body, he's not even got eyes on the ball. His arms are up high because he's leaped to try and win the ball back for his side. As he turns round, he doesn't know Wan-Bissaka's going to head the ball onto his hand from 3 or 4 inches away. And I think you could see from the frustration or even the reaction from Pep Guardiola in the technical area.
I think, having just seen another angle of it, the ball has sailed over his head. He's gone up for it. The arm has then started to come down because he's been using it for leverage. Then, out the corner of his eye, he sees Wan-Bissaka coming, and he's thinking there's going to be a physical collision between the pair of them, and he's put his arm up to protect himself from the impact It's come up towards his face, the ball's hit that hand, and the penalty is given. It's, for me, and there may well be referees who say, no, you're absolutely wrong, but for me, that should never be given as a penalty. And in by the letter of the law, in the spirit of the game, and they've got to referee it by the way that the law is written, but in the spirit of the game, that's not a handball offence. He's not trying to gain an advantage by doing that at all.
Do you know, I always think as well, we see players now when they go out to stop a cross coming in, Mick, you'll have seen this like me, like all fans. You see defenders going out now with their arms behind their back, petrified of giving away, petrified of putting their arm in the way of a cross that's going to come in. So you're coaching players to do that, and I understand the need to do that. So are we now saying that when you jump for a ball, you're going to have to jump with your hands by your side, that someone could come in and clatter you on the side of your cheekbone and put you out of a Champions League final? You can't raise your arms anymore. It's not fair. You can't cater or coach a situation like that to prevent what Jack Grealish did. It's not a penalty, and I think it's not in the sporting nature of the game. Just exactly what Jim just said there.
Well, if you try it yourself. Try and jump with your arms behind your back. It's pretty hard to do.
Yeah.
And if you think about corners and set pieces as well, Andy, when everybody's doing exactly the same thing, players they're leaping up to try and get that extra inch above your marker, whether you're clearing your lines or whether you're trying to head and score a goal. You raise your arms to try and come up, and as you come down, the last thing you're thinking about as a player is putting your arms behind your back because you think there's going to be contact with your hands.
Absolutely right. Aid, what could happen now? What we could do, literally, from the start of next season, we don't necessarily have to hear it in real time, the conversation that's happening. I think broadcasters eventually will get that. We will be able to hear a real-time conversation between referee and the VAR officials. But we most certainly could hear it the next day. Let's have a listen to what was said when that happened yesterday, etc., to try and gauge a better understanding of what these guys are seeing.
Do you not think that all we would have heard there, and I'm with you, by the way, I think we should, but what we would have heard there was David Coote asking the question, is he making himself bigger with a bid to stopping Wan-Bissaka getting the ball back across the goal into the danger zone? Does he make himself bigger? You answer that question. Paul Tierney's obviously looked at it and thought, yeah, he does make himself bigger. But actually, we're saying here that momentum or trying to stop a collision between the two. This isn't Jack Grealish sticking his hand in the air saying, I'm going to stop this coming back in.
No, exactly.
And whoever thinks that, I just can't get my head around why you would... And this is where tweaking the laws so frequently, and where VAR overanalyzing, scientifically making everything, trying to be perfect.
Yes.
I think they've just got themselves into such a muddle, they can't see clearly anymore.
And it's the wording that they hide behind of the law. The wording of the law that somehow is what they trot out, what officials will trot out. You know, the specific wording of each of these laws, whereas you're absolutely right. The sporting integrity of our game and also a bit of common sense. Come on, look at that decision. Stand in front of that monitor. Just say to yourself, is Grealish trying to get himself in the way of this? Is he deliberately making himself big? Come on, the answer to that is an emphatic no across the board.
Yeah, as I've stated my opinion, that should never be a penalty, but what they might as well do is say if the ball hits the hand or the arm, irrespective of intent or any other circumstances, it's a free kick or a penalty. Because there are too many shades of grey here. There's too much on the line for a decision like that. For me, it should only be given if it is a clear and obvious error. That wasn't a clear and obvious error either way. Had the penalty not been given for that, there would have been very, very few complaints.
United benefits, and they go in at half-time. Maybe a little bit fortunate to be level, but what a second half in store, live on Talksport. That was all thanks to Carling, 18 plus. Please drink responsibly.
FA Cup halftime highlights on Talksport with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup.
Yeah, one apiece here at Wembley, and at half-time in the Women's Champions League final, Wolfsburg are 2-0 up against Barcelona in Eindhoven. Barcelona 0, Wolfsburg 2 in the Women's Champions League final. Here at Wembley in the FA Cup final, live on Talksport in the sunshine, it's Manchester City 1, Manchester United 1, second half, coming up live.
FA Cup live on Talksport with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup. 18 plus, please drink responsibly.
You can't put a price on togetherness or excitement, friendship or achievement, and you can enjoy them even more when you hear every moment. Our best-selling hearing aids are up to £300 off and come with a 90-day money-back guarantee. Book your free hearing check today at bootshearingcare.com. Boots, with you for life. See bootshearingcare.com for details.
Want round-the-clock free football news? Get the Talksport Edge. Live scores and big-name interviews? Get the Talksport Edge. From transfer fees to injuries? Get the Talksport Edge. There's even live text commentaries. It's all on Talksport Edge.
Talksport Edge is the free football fan app that keeps you a giant step ahead of your mates. Get the ultimate edge on everything football, first, fast, and for free.
Talksport Edge. Download it from the App Store now.
iOS 13 and above only. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus. Gambleaware.org.
With Carling, the UK's #1 lager and proud partner of the Emirates FA Cup.
She cuts in from the wing. Oh, that's superb. She's through and goal! Ho, ho, ho, ho! Yes! She scored a world-class win. Sarah?
Huh? Oh.
Cadbury Buttons or Dairy Milk?
Oh, gosh, sorry. Don't dream about a world-class win. Enter to win one. Meet a world-class footballer and win an epic holiday worth 8k. Only with Cadbury. T's and C's apply. Visit worldclass.cadburyfc.com.
Come on, the Blues!
We're in white, Einstein.
Whoops, Sunday League footy so British. Which reminds me, smart meters could help Britain create a future where we're less reliant on imported gas.
All right.
They help us manage our energy use, which improves the balance of supply and demand. So we could use more wind and solar energy from Britain.
Help Britain create a future that's less reliant on imported gas. Search Get a Smart Meter today. Eligibility may vary. Consumer action required.
Whenever you watch telly, you deserve something extraordinary. You deserve a hilarious comedy, a fascinating documentary, or a nail-biting crime drama without paying for endless apps and channels. You deserve Sky and Netflix together in one simple subscription. All the great TV you need, whatever you're into, for £26 a month. Sky Stream. TV simplified. Requires Sky Stream and broadband. Minimum speed 25 megabits per second. No upfront fee before 14th of July. 18-month minimum term. Terms apply.
The FA Cup Final. Live. Manchester United versus Manchester City. On Talksport with Carling. The UK's #1 lager and proud partner of the Emirates FA Cup.
On DAB, online, and on your smart speaker.
Talksport. On AM, on DAB, on the app, and on your smart speaker.
He's given the goal!
The FA Cup Final. Manchester City versus Manchester United. Live from Wembley on Talksport.
Back here at Wembley, we are waiting for the two teams to come out for the second half. One apiece between City and United in the first ever All-Manchester FA Cup Final. Let's head off to the cricket, get the latest from Talksport's John Norman.
Well, a test is what England wanted ahead of an Ashes summer, and belatedly, a test is what they've got. And England, incredibly, are going to have to bat again. Didn't think I'd be saying that this morning when overnight Ireland was struggling, 97 for 3, but we've seen some fine innings of note. 44 to Tucker, Harry Tector hitting 51, but Mark Adair, 88, his test best. And Andy McBride could go one better. He's 85 not out. 2 wickets remaining, but of course McCollum, who was injured yesterday, will not bat. So England need 1 wicket, and then they're going to have to come out and knock off a few runs. The crowd have been entertained. That's what they wanted this morning, and England have been tested. Ireland at tea on day 3, 356 for 8.
Well, this is the football season that's never ending, and we've got it all covered on Talksport. So many people have said to me, now the season's over, you're taking a break. Are you absolutely sure about that? Today we've got the FA Cup Final as the officials come out for the second half, so we'll be getting underway very shortly. And then Talksport's off to Prague for the Europa Conference League Final with West Ham United against Fiorentina. That final is on Wednesday. We'll bring you that live on Talksport. And then Talksport's off to Istanbul for the Champions League final. We'll have a special preview show Friday night from Istanbul. You'll be able not just to hear it on your radio, but also to see it on our social media platforms, on YouTube, on Twitter as well. So watch out all week for loads of content from Prague and from Istanbul as well. Champions League final next Saturday, and we'll have commentary of that. It is Manchester City taking on Inter Milan. Manchester United come out for the second half. The sun's gone in just for a little moment. Flags are waving in the Manchester United end, but maybe City feel a little bit shell-shocked. Maybe they got themselves lulled into a bit of false security with that goal after just a few seconds from Ilkay Gundogan. City in the tunnel about to emerge. So, with the quickest FA Cup final goal of all time, Manchester City, and then United with one of the most controversial VAR calls in FA Cup final history. So it is one apiece, second half right now on Talksport with Mickey Gray, Andy Townsend and Jim Proudfoot.
And Manchester United with the first team out for this second half. Manchester City following them out now. No sign of any changes being made at this juncture. That means that David De Gea is okay, and whether they had to give him a little bit of treatment during the second half. He went down for a stage midway through the first half, but he is back out for the second period. So City lining up Ortega in goal, Walker, Diaz, Akanji, Stones and Rodri, Bernardo Silva, De Bruyne, Gundogan and Grealish, and Haaland. And Manchester United, De Gea in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Lindelof and Shaw, Casemiro and Fred, Fernandes and Sancho, and Eriksen and Rashford in what at times has been a 4-2-2-2 formation. Now we're back underway. Paul Tierney, the referee, signals the start of the second half, and he'll be hoping for a little bit less controversy in the second period. One thing he guaranteed, we won't get a goal as soon as we did in the first half in this second, as the ball has been put out of play for a throw that'll be taken over on the Manchester United right. Delighted to say, alongside me, a couple of international here from Mickey Gray in a moment. First of all, though, Andy Townsend.
Yeah, I mean, just such an incredible first 45 minutes. So much to talk about. The debate from what we've just seen will go on for days as it is. But can United now, having had the worst start possible, unimaginable start to the game, they're back in it. Are they now going to pick it up and start to really attack City and start to pressurise them that little bit more?
They're on the front foot here. Manchester United bringing it forward. Wan-Bissaka finding Sancho. It's a lovely turn from Sancho inside the penalty area, trying to tiptoe his way through and got a fair distance, but Rodri was able just to step across him and flick it away. Out towards Jack Grealish. Grealish back for Ruben Diaz, who will clear his lines inside the penalty area. Long ball hoisted forward from him. Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro both attacking it. Casemiro got his head to it. City work it forward. Haaland gives chase and shoves one of the United players to the ground. As he does so, it was Varane. Well, the loose ball goes through towards David De Gea away to the right-hand side. Speaking to another former England international very briefly during that half-time interval, Mick, who said that he was furious with Jack Grealish. He felt as though he was a disgraceful piece of play from him, getting Wan-Bissaka booked at the end of the first half. I think he had a case.
Wan-Bissaka, I mean, just misread it, didn't he? He tried to win the ball, Wan-Bissaka. He thought he was going to win it. Jack Grealish, I think there was a slight bit of contact. But if you think just before that, Jim, the both had a little bit of an argument, so maybe that was one of the reasons why he stayed down.
1-1 the scoreline. Now the ball is back with David De Gea. Controlling inside the penalty area. Right-footed, it's cleared and straight out of play. The United man that he found, or very nearly found, was Erik ten Hag, rather than anybody else. And the white shirt not wanting red. The ball is out of play for a throw that Carl Walker wanted to take from about 15 yards too far forward. And eventually he makes up most of the distance back before restarting play. Dropping it short at the feet of Bernardo Silva. Walker getting it back again. Eriksen putting the pressure on. Ball is laid off for Silva, who then goes back inside his own half for Stones. And Stones brings it forward towards halfway. And just for a moment, he's finding himself on the right of the three centre halves. Almost a 4-4-2 for Manchester City at the start of this second half, but they will just gravitate back towards their more customary shape now. Ball is laid back for Ortega, who controls it inside his own penalty area. Takes a couple of touches, just plays it forward in towards Stones. Four in red shirts converge on him, and then he turns and beautifully takes all four out of the picture.
Terrific play, John Stones, that.
Now Walker bringing it forward and undoes all that good work from Stones by presenting it straight to Casemiro in the midfield. Walker will spare his own blushes by winning it back just as quickly, but how good was that from Stones?
Wonderful. Facing his own goal, surrounded by red shirts, but just turns out. I think everybody just held their breath for a moment, wasn't quite sure what John Stones was going to do with the ball, but not only now is he looking comfortable doing the job required in the middle of the park. He's now adding finesse and genuine class to it like he just did.
Well, that Women's Champions League final now 2-2. 2 goals for Barcelona in the space of 2 minutes in Eindhoven against Wolfsburg. So 2 apiece there. Silva playing it forward down the right-hand side of the area. De Bruyne's ball inside the box just behind Haaland, and it falls for Wan-Bissaka, who's going to be able to knock it away out towards the touchline.
Lucky. Good football, City. Just got the overlap. De Bruyne just found a yard of space down City's right, in behind Luke Shaw, whipped it across the 6-yard line. I think there was 2 players in the box who just both got in advance of the ball.
Manchester City in possession again with Talksport, the FA Cup final live from Wembley, where it's 1-1. City in possession with Stones. Now to Bernardo Silva, just waiting for Jadon Sancho to come and put the pressure on before he lays it back for Kyle Walker. Walker to his left through midfield for Ruben Dias. Walker's got it again. Now towards Dias, back inside the centre circle as the sun comes back out. It's the half that City are attacking that's in the shade, the half they're defending that's in the sunshine. De Bruyne, good turn, too good for Fred, who just made contact, a genuine attempt to win the ball, but he genuinely didn't. And it's a free kick got to be taken by City, 10 yards from the corner flag, almost on the touchline. Andy?
Problem is, sorry Andy for jumping in there, I'm watching Fred and it looks like he's trying to man-mark Kevin De Bruyne.
Yes, he is.
In this second half. De Bruyne has run off and put a great ball into the 6-yard area, then he pulls him out wide, thinking he's got the pace to beat him. And Kevin De Bruyne is just clever, he just nicks the ball past him, waits because he knows Fred's going to just poke out that left foot. And if they keep giving these free kicks and for Kevin De Bruyne to whip into dangerous areas, City have got the height and the threat in that 6-yard box to capitalise on it.
Well, it was a tactic that worked for United the last time that they played against City in the league when they beat them. Fred on De Bruyne, but De Bruyne dragging him here, there and everywhere at the moment. He's got this free kick here. It's right-footed. It's clipped towards the edge of the penalty area. Left-footed effort from Gundogan. Oh, it's in! It's cracked through past David De Gea. And Manchester City lead again. Right out to the edge of the box, and he sent a bouncing one in from the edge of the D. It's bounced about 3 times, whether it's taken a slightly erratic bounce in front of David De Gea, I don't know. But Ilkay Gundogan on the double, and Manchester City might be on the league and cup double as a result. They lead again, 2-1.
Goalkeeper. Everybody on the United bench is looking at a monitor, and they're all asking the same question that everybody watching this match is saying: where's my goalkeeper? Where's David De Gea? Because Ilkay Gundogan has hit that on the volley, and it's bounced, as you say, Jim, 3 times from about 4 yards outside the box. He's actually got a hand on it and can't keep it out. Again, is he set? Is he ready? I tell you what, Gundogan makes a decent strike. Goalkeeper's got to save that. It's gone through a little narrow corridor, it has, along the way, but that's got to be kept out.
It's such a well-worked free kick, swung towards the edge of the penalty area. He's a yard outside the box. He's hit it with cut spin with the outside of the left boot, and it's gone just over the thigh of one United defender and past another. I think the only thing you could say, Mickey Gray, was potentially De Gea saw it late and was unsided, but you'd still expect your goalkeeper to be able to save that.
He's got to save it, Jim. There's no question about it. There's only one place Gundogan can put that.
As Ortega clears from about a yard off his line after a potentially suicidal back pass, but City survive. 2-1. Nick?
I talk about giving free kicks away to Manchester City.
It's absolutely right,
not. It's not the free kick I expected, though, Andy. To the edge of the 18-yard area, and Gundogan with his weaker foot banging that ball into the ground. I don't think there's enough pace on that to beat David De Gea. He's got to save that.
I think he's on his line. He's too far on his line, and the goal is then too big for him to scamper across and make a better save.
So City leading again. Sancho bringing it forward now for United. Wan-Bissaka's gone down. He's back on his feet very quickly. Grealish has possession back, and Manchester City get a free kick. Live over on Talksport 2 right now. Magic Weekend is underway. It's Wigan 4, Catalan 8. That's live for you right now over on Talksport 2 here on Talksport. It's the FA Cup final, and Manchester City lead Manchester United by 2-1. Ilkay Gundogan's now got 6 goals in his last 4 games against Premier League opposition. He's never scored a senior hat-trick. He had the chance to do that in that recent Premier League game against Leeds where he missed the penalty. He's on a hat-trick again now. City leading in the cup final. They've scored early in each half.
I mean, look, he's just got that fantastic knack, and it is a knack, which is in its own way as a skill to get into the box.
Ortega was off his line for a moment there as he broke towards Bruno Fernandes. Wan-Bissaka will try and help it in, but it's headed down by Ruben Dias and whacked away by Akanji. For City towards halfway. Varane mopping up. Fred goes back inside his own half, and United able to get their foot on the ball.
Yeah. Again, haven't seen enough of Marcus Rashford from United. Second half, Eriksen on the edges of the game, same as Bruno Fernandes in that wide right-hand side. I don't think it'll be long before Ten Hag starts to tweak the shape of this United team. I don't think he can wait forever. Of course, if City were to strike next, we'd all think it's done and dusted. I think it's a really important 5-minute spell now for Erik Ten Hag. He's going to make a change. It's got to have an effect.
And to that end, Alex Crook, our football correspondent here on Talksport's got one eye on the dugout, Alex.
Well, he looks relaxed enough for the moment, Erik Ten Hag. Arms folded, but Garnacho warming up, ready to come on, I would imagine, Jim.
The Stones trying to get the ball away from Fred and poke it out towards Bernardo Silva, and a free kick's been given. Stones just caught, and this is another set-piece opportunity in a really good area. This one's closer, much more central than the one from which they scored.
Caught by Fred again there. I mean, John Stone's a little bit fortunate. The ball kind of gets away from him. He overruns it a little bit. But again, it's Fred who makes the challenge, concedes the free kick. De Bruyne standing over it with Bernardo Silva. We're talking, 27, 28 yards out. United have only got a two-man wall, Christian Eriksen and looks like Jadon Sancho.
And De Bruyne just wipes the sweat from his brow with his left forearm. Puts his left yellow boot by the ball and now takes 2, 3, 4 steps back. 7 Manchester City players around the edge of the penalty area. Will this be a more orthodox delivery or some more thinking outside the box? In it comes, swept in, header back across the edge of the 6-yard box. Might break for Haaland, it didn't quite. He stuck out a left foot and it just fell behind it. Half cleared, De Bruyne is going to be able to pick it up again and walks around the challenge from Eriksen, and then it's sliced as it comes back in from Kevin De Bruyne. It's Victor Lindelof trying to clear it, and the ball hits him and slices away perilously close to his near post. It goes out for a corner.
Kevin De Bruyne in this spell since the restart, he's had more touches of the ball than anybody on the field. And if that trend continues, there's going to be problems for Manchester United, because he's whipping things in with his right foot and he's above this corner right now.
Both arms above his head as he indicates which set piece is going to be. Swings the corner in, it's headed away by the penalty spot by Eriksen. Comes down towards Walker. Walker finding Bernardo Silva. Silva forward again towards Kevin De Bruyne. De Bruyne back for Silva in the sunshine. A lot of the game being played in the shade now with Manchester City on the front foot. They lead by 2 goals to 1. And it's this man in possession has got them both. Ilkay Gundogan. Back from him for Diaz. Into the midfield for Stones. Stones to Ruben Dias again. The goal that Gundogan scored, the 150th of Manchester City's season in all competitions, which is a tidy return in 60 games, 2.5 a game. United win possession back with Wan-Bissaka, bringing it forward towards halfway. Rashford able to turn, and he'll flick it forward. Good ball back through the midfield, picks up Bruno Fernandes in space. He's got Shaw making a run to his left, and United will venture forward and work it down towards the left-hand touchline for Shaw. Little nutmeg there of Bernardo Silva, but Bruno Fernandes on the edge of the penalty area couldn't make anything of it. City will be able to break. There was an attempt at a foul in the midfield there by United. The referees played the advantage. Gundogan pirouettes in the midfield, maintains possession and works it out for Jack Grealish on the Manchester City left. It's back from him to Akanji. Rodri's got it now. Rodri 20 yards outside the penalty area, clipping it down towards Bernardo Silva. Silva controlling it firstly on his thigh and then his left instep, bringing it forward. And he's taking on Fred, lays it back for Walker. Walker then for Ruben Dias. Kyle Walker gets it again. 20 outside the penalty area, about 10 yards outside the box when he eventually fires it in. Lindelof pokes it away from Haaland. Winning the battle of the 2 Scandinavians there, but United just can't get the ball to stick as they play it upfield. And City dominating possession, strangling the life out of United in the midfield at the moment. Here's Gundogan getting towards the byline. Oh, just too much on the ball in for Haaland, where better service there, and it could have been 3-1 and game over.
Great run from Gundogan, travelling towards the byline, stands the ball up with his left foot. It is just, well, it's 3 or 4 yards too big for Erling Haaland to possibly get on the end of it. But again, it's City that are now asking the questions predominantly.
Now there's a little bit of activity on the United bench. Looks like a change, Alex Crook, potentially.
And I think it will be Garnacho. He's stripping ready for action. A lot of people thought he might start today. He'll be coming on.
Just taking his tracksuit top off as the ball is played. A crossfield ball, a really poor one. Fernandes acknowledges that, raising a hand by way of apology, but the ball straight out of play for a throw that will be taken by Manchester City on the right-hand side, and they're half an hour away from doing the League and Cup double here. John Stones in possession. City 2, United 1. Remember the last time the two sides met, City a goal up with 12 minutes to go and lost. A long way to go yet. Kanji bringing the ball forward here for Manchester City, and he wins the throw off Casemiro, which will be taken over on that City left-hand side.
Interesting if Garnacho does enter the fray, exactly which way Erik ten Hag goes to change it. I don't think United get anything like enough out of Bruno Fernandes when he plays in this right-hand position. Mickey Gray and I were talking about it pre-game and during. You know, he's a key player for this United team. He has to be involved. If he's just doing a job for the team up and down the right side, it's a waste. So do they perhaps take Eriksen off, move him infield, or does he take Jadon Sancho off again? Haven't seen enough from him, but a lot of the United players, it was a little bit of a Rodri there, nearly getting caught in possession on the halfway line, but be interesting which way he goes with this change now, Jim.
Well, I guess the other option, I mean, bearing in mind that you talked about Fred and the lack of an impact that he's having on...
And on is he on a card, Fred?
No, not yet, I don't think, but he's struggling to detail Kevin De Bruyne, so you drop Eriksen back in there, take Fred off, put Bruno at 10, and then bring Garnacho on in the wide position. I don't know, but these are the dilemmas that Erik ten Hag has got to contemplate with half an hour to go.
I think, first and foremost, ten Hag's got to say, how can I affect my team? Can't worry about stopping City all the time. We have to score. We've got to reply.
Gundogan fall for De Bruyne here on the edge of the penalty area, and it's saved by De Gea's left boot. Kicks it away. Back out towards Gundogan again. Down towards Bernardo Silva on the right-hand side of the penalty area. Stones clipping it in. It's very deep. Goes over Grealish's head. Picked up, though, by De Bruyne. But the referee has given a free kick United's way for probably a push inside that penalty area, I guess.
I think it was actually from Jack Grealish. I think it was a little nudge in the back of Varane. And that change is about to happen, Jim.
And it is Garnacho for Eriksen.
Yeah, that change had to happen. As Andy was speaking about there, they need some width. They need somebody who's a little bit unknown to these Manchester City defenders to maybe cause them a few problems. He's young, he'll go out there, he won't even think about it. We know what he's got. He's got pace, he's got ability, he's certainly got an eye for goal. And Man United are searching for something at the moment because their football, Jim, in the second half have been so sloppy. Giving the ball away, and then just gives the opportunity for Kevin De Bruyne to pick the ball in between the lines. They probably looked at Erik ten Hag and said to Fred, right, I want you to man mark Kevin De Bruyne. That didn't work, so they've had to scupper that. Then they're thinking about doubling up on the two wide players. That's not working for them. Erling Haaland coming back, winning the ball back for his team and then creating an opportunity. I'm not seeing that from the United players.
So the change, we'll see Bruno going in at 10, Garnacho playing on the left of the front three. He's still only 18. He's had this problem with the injury this season, suffered from ankle ligament damage, but scored against Wolves on his comeback from that. And more than 30 senior appearances for United in his breakthrough season. He only played twice for the club at the start of the campaign, but it's his 36th appearance for them now.
He's quick, Garnacho, no doubt about that. It'll be fascinating to see how he gets on up against the machine that is Kyle Walker. He's got to try and make the difference. Already he's chopped and ducked in behind and trying to offer himself for a long ball over the top. It hasn't quite come. City completely dominant in the game as we speak. They've been much the better in the second period. They've got their lead back, and it's them that are looking the most likely.
And here's John Stones trying to make it 3, but he's fired over the bar. It remains 2-1 to Manchester City here on Talksport. Jim Proudfoot, Andy Townsend, Mickey Gray, Alex Crook talking you through the action here at Wembley today. United have won 5 of their last 6 FA Cup matches against City, most recently a 3-2 win at the Etihad in 2012. They were 3 up by half-time in that game. The City's only FA Cup win over United since the mid-50s, back in 2010. Paul Scholes sent off Yaya Toure, scored the winner in the semi-final that year. Ball headed away by Robert here towards halfway. De Bruyne trying to help it on, but Varane's got it at the back of United.
Yeah, just at this moment, I'm just starting to see Casemiro, Fred. They got the same expressions that Luka Modric and Toni Kroos had against this City team, where players are coming at them from all angles. People are darting into space. They're connecting the dots. They're finding their passes. And you wonder where it's all coming from. You just can't stop it. And they look a bit like that, United, at the moment. They look a bit like they're just clinging on, and they're praying and hoping that maybe Rashford might turn and run and make something happen. But De Bruyne is finding a lot of room out there.
He very nearly found Haaland there as he leant back and just tried to get his head to a long ball that was pumped forward. Walker brings it under control as United get it upfield. And Rodri can bring it back for Manchester City again. A crossfield ball that just evades Casemiro, who leant forward, couldn't get his head to it. City will work it down the left-hand side here. Grealish finding De Bruyne. De Bruyne really making hay now up against Fred. Fred's won that latest instalment of the battle very well. He turns, wings it cleanly inside his own penalty area, and then as he steps forward, Grealish has fouled him. And it's a free kick that will be taken by United from 15 yards outside their own half.
Yep, he's desperately trying to do that job, Fred. It's not an easy one when De Bruyne starts getting in the zone and starts getting the ball to feet.
United working it over the top, and Ortega is backing off. I think the offside flag would have come up, but he'd gone through towards Marcus Rashford, but the referee has actually said I wasn't ready for it anyway, and I want you to retake the free kick. So it's a United free kick way inside their own half. And Ortega just leaving the ball, and Bruno Fernandes will have to play it all the way back 60 yards inside his own half, so the free kick can be correctly taken this time. You're listening to Manchester City against Manchester United in the FA Cup final. It's live on Talksport with Carly, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup. 18 plus, please drink responsibly. 66 on the clock. Manchester City 2, Manchester United 1. Ilkay Gundogan with the 2 City goals, one as early as the 13th second of the game. In between times, Bruno Fernandes converting a disputed penalty after a handball by Jack Grealish, given on the advice of the VAR. Here's Ortega, just side-footing the ball calmly between Bruno Fernandes and Garnacho. And Manchester City are able to motor forward here, and nobody is picking up Rodri until just coming in from his blind side. Rashford did really well to win it back. Now Garnacho bringing it forward himself. He's run into Stones. Stones doing well to turn over possession, and Manchester City will bring it forward. A few breathing quite heavily at the moment, including Rodri.
Yeah, Jim, is just, I mean...
Is he swinging something there?
Honestly, he looks like he's run his race. He's completely shattered. He made a 40-yard run with the ball. He had options left or right. He dillied and dallied. Eventually, the ball got taken off of his feet, and it took him an age to recover. He's just now started to trot around again, but Guardiola collapsed to the floor on his knees, honestly, in frustration. Couldn't believe what he was seeing. He wants his team to just take care. If they just stitch 2 passes together at the right time, they're going to create a chance. They're going to be firing at David De Gea. They really are now.
Well, it's very difficult to make a case for Manchester United coming back in this from 3-1 down. City leading at the moment 2-1, and deservedly so. But De Bruyne playing it forward. It's taking a nick off Fred. Goes through for De Gea. De Gea's contract is up at the end of this season. Just wonder conceivably whether this would be his last Manchester United game. It's 545th for the club. 189 clean sheets is kept as Wan-Bissaka makes his way forward here for United. It's flicked on by Sancho, but knocked away by the retreating Akanji. Brought under control in the Manchester United midfield by Casemiro, who will lay back through the centre circle for Victor Lindelof. Lindelof's got Garnacho in space to his left. Lindelof driving forward towards the edge of the penalty area. Bruno Fernandes looks as though he's going to shoot. He set it up for Rashford, and that wasn't too far over the bar. Hit it from the edge of the D, and Ortega very quickly turned his head and looked over his shoulder, knew he was beaten. It was grateful to see it just clear his bar as well.
Best chance United have had. Good football. Victor Lindelof did well, stepped in, supplemented that midfield with the ball at his feet. Eventually, the ball arrives at the feet of Marcus Rashford for the first time in the game. A yard outside the box, right in the middle. On his right foot, hits it hard and true. Diaz can't get there to block. And it's always rising, only just over the bar, but better, much better that.
Now, this was something that you and I were talking about before the game, Andy, off-air, Rashford, whether the stats held up for him when he was playing through the middle, whether he played in a wide position, and they are almost identical.
They are. Goals return, yep, whether he's up as a 9 or whether he comes off one side, he's still always, this season, has been able to get his goals. How United need him now, more like that. They need to keep him involved. Marcus Rashford, he's always the obvious threat up front. Big responsibility on his shoulders, but he's got to match it, he's got to hack that, he's got to handle that. They must keep giving him the ball.
8 in 16 starts as a centre-forward this season, 15 in 29 coming in off the wing. 7 goals as a sub as well for Rashford in this excellent campaign he's had. It's brought 30 in all competitions, but what he'd give for number 31, what United would give for it. 20 minutes to go. They trail by 2-1 here on Talksport. Throw taken by Luke Shaw. Back for Garnacho. Haaland sticking his foot in. He worked back by Silva. Way back inside his own half, but plenty of time for Ruben Diaz to run round it, bring it under control. And just slow things down, almost inviting Marcus Rashford to come and put some pressure on. Diaz returning back to his goalkeeper when Rashford does that. Ortega again, calmly side-footing the ball forward, and immediately the press as it goes in towards Rodri. He's the man that United do attack when it's worked into his feet. Stones has shown his ability in possession to turn and play through the press, and Rodri maybe a little bit less so.
Yeah, Ortega wrapped one into his feet, and that's what City do. They risk it. Rodri just managed to get that ball away.
Awkward bounce. Haaland will be able to turn and try and get away from Casemiro. Gundogan picks it up. Grealish to his left-hand side is played in. Haaland's in the middle. De Bruyne just for a moment was unmarked on the edge of the penalty area. 71 gone. 2-1 to City. Grealish with an opportunity. First ball is clear. Haaland! Good save, De Gea. And it's put in. But from an offside position. I think Gundogan knew that that wasn't his first senior hat-trick. Good save from De Gea. Got his feet to it. Okay, Gundogan was there. Taps it in. The VAR, of course, will have a look, but Gundogan's reaction suggests that he knew the flag was going to come up.
Yeah, good football though from City, really like that. Went out to Jack Grealish, clever little ball to Gundogan. His ball along the 6-yard line was cut out. And then eventually, when the strike from Erling Haaland comes in, he's a yard offside. Good call.
City 2, Manchester United 1. Clearance from our right from David De Gea. Slight misjudgment by Kyle Walker. He just bounced out behind him, and Rashford was very quickly on the scene. Walker could clear. His ball forward just sails over the head of Kevin De Bruyne. Back it goes from Fred. Shaw trying to make something happen. Garnacho can. Bruno Fernandes back to the youngster. Here he is, Garnacho! Just wide. Brilliant shape on the shot. It was a great run. They're claiming, I think, with some justification, it took a nick on its way through. It should be a corner. Goal kick has been given. But Garnacho just has almost that glorious naivety of youth.
Yeah.
Just bringing the ball forward there, opened up his body, and he missed by inches.
Oh, he's unlucky. He's unlucky. Does everything right there, Garnacho. They battle away for it, United down their left side, and he steps in off the line. Knocks it into Casemiro, gets it back, gets to the edge of the box, and it feels like it's really close. It really does. He has a little look at where Ortega is. Oh, yeah, it's close, all right. It's just about a foot wide of that far post.
And Alex Crook down behind that goal would have had the perfect view of it, Crookie.
I tell you what, Jim, it was not far away. It whistled past the post, it whistled past my head. Tyrell Malacia has just had quite a long pep talk from Erik ten Hag as he warms up. I wonder if another United change is in the offing.
Thank you, Alex Crook. Sports football correspondent. Here's Fred bringing the ball forward for United. He trailed 2-1. Ball out to the right. Bruno Fernandes playing it in. Rashford was his target. He didn't find him, but he'll get another opportunity and wins a corner, which is United's first of this second half.
Yeah, first cross from Bruno was dealt with. Comes straight back out to him. And with that second ball, Gundogan just outstretches the leg and it hits his foot. Goes out for a United corner. Keep it alive. They've got to try and make something of these situations now, United.
So in comes this corner from the Manchester United right. 5 red shirts inside the penalty area. Too high for Garnacho and for Varane. The drop down for Luke Shaw. Shaw level with the edge of the box. Plays it back for Fred. Shaw makes his way inside the penalty area. Fred clipping it in. It's cleared and then volleyed away by Kevin De Bruyne towards halfway. 2-1 in the cup final to Manchester City. 16 minutes to go. More live sport for you right now over on Talksport 2 as well. Magic weekend in the Super League. Catalan 22-8 up against Wigan. And that is live for you right now over on Talksport 2. 15 minutes left of the FA Cup final. 15 minutes of normal time, that is. Here's Marcus Rashford taking it down towards the byline and then checking back out. Rashford level with the edge of the penalty area. It's laid back towards Casemiro. Casemiro back behind square for Fred. Fred brings it forward. Down towards Rashford again. The ball stops for a moment. Rashford having time to pick out his pass. It goes back for Fred, trying to work it across the edge of the 6-yard box. It was stabbed away by Stones. Rodri did the rest. Casemiro from distance whacked one, and Grealish was so quickly on the scene to close it down. The ball ricocheted off him and back into United territory. But Manchester United doing what they can to try and turn the screw and get themselves back into this game.
Best spell of the game for United. Realise they've got to force it, they've got to push. Here comes Garnacho again, just over the halfway line.
And he'll bring it forward now down the inside left channel. Goes for the return ball and gets it. Can he open up, get it onto his right foot again? Garnacho, good sliding challenge from Stones. The shot might have been effective, but it was cleared. Bruno tries to flick one over the top. That one's cleared as well before he gets to Garnacho. Now headed on towards Sancho, but the referee has given a free kick Manchester City's way, just on the edge of the penalty area.
Well, this second half's really interesting, isn't it? The way it's opened up. City have been so dominant, but you get to the final 15 minutes before we get to the full 90, and they're getting a little bit of space now, United. In behind Man City, and see Garnacho, he's sprung a little bit of life into Manchester United. Couple of little opportunities, a great chance, but that's what they've tried to try and capitalise on. Marcus Rashford getting involved in the game a little bit more now, and they've got to take risks now. They have to take a chance to get that level.
And Manchester City are making a change. De Bruyne coming off and Foden is coming on.
Yeah, well, they need people to hang on to the ball, to carry it, to take that first touch and keep it and walk it into those wider areas. Now City, no one better than that, than Phil Foden. De Bruyne, very influential, I felt, in the second half. I thought he was the one that kind of really started to apply serious pressure to United. He kept using it intelligently and wisely, but it's a very hot day. Rodri, I don't think I've ever seen him as tired as he is. He really is out on his feet, and it'd be very interesting to see if United can get someone running in that central position at that back four, back three, if they can make something happen.
Yeah, it looks like he's run the derby as well as played in the derby today, doesn't he? I mean, he's properly blowing Rodri, which you wouldn't associate with him. A little bit of action on the United bench as well. Weghorst is going to be coming on in a moment. Foden on for City, a man who has scored a hat-trick against United this season. We've got 13 minutes to go. Haaland, another of City's hat-trick heroes this season. He's scored 6 of them, one of them coming against United in that 6-3 win. And he's showing for the ball here, or trying to show for the ball here from a Walker throw. And he just, for a moment, got goal side of Lindelof, but only for a moment. Victor Lindelof able to get the ball away. Walker clipping it forward. And Haaland, the ponytailed Norwegian, takes it down towards the corner flag, lays it off to Bernardo Silva. And Silva down by the corner quadrant, tried to buy a corner, couldn't do so. Flicked it in the second time of asking, it was cleared. Now he has it again. Haaland almost able to bring it down brilliantly, and then Silva has caught his compatriot Bruno Fernandes, and it's going to be a free kick which Manchester United will take quickly, level with the edge of their own penalty area. But they were trying to take it too quickly. United will make a change. Sancho off, and here is Wout Weghorst.
Yep. So Weghorst has his qualities, and he's going to go up there just in behind Marcus Rashford. He's got to try and get hold of it, and of course when they get it wide he must make sure he is in that box looking to attack it.
Lost a couple of Dutch Cup finals in his days with AZ. Well, Weghorst came off the bench to score a couple of very important goals late on for the Dutch against Argentina in one of the great World Cup games that we brought you live from Qatar the back end of last year. And will he be able to make an impact off the bench today? Grealish bringing it forward. And Fred has come back and clipped him and gets a yellow card.
Yeah. Jack Grealish deliberately running across the front of Fred's feet. He knows what he's doing there, Grealish. Make no mistake about that. But a little bit of contact. Fred's going in the book. He knows he is. He's made umpteen tackles where he's stopped the game. Yeah, and he steps across and he just induces that contact, doesn't he, Mick?
Well, it's very clever at it, which is why he's probably one of the most fouled players in the Premier League. He's done it for the last 2 or 3 seasons in a City shirt, and certainly when he's at Aston Villa. Just looking at that changing system, we're bringing Weghorst on, Andy. I don't know, with having 12, 13 minutes left of the game, do you play him as the striker? Because it looks as if he's in behind Marcus, and I don't know if he influences the game more in that position.
And just go big, just go direct, just go long up to him and get something that drops. Yep. We'll see if that happens, Mick. We'll see how that changes.
Well, they need the ball first. Manchester City have taken this free kick. It's a play back for Ilkay Gundogan. Clipped on by Rodri, brought down by Foden, left-hand side of the penalty area. Tries to drive a low ball in. Hits Wan-Bissaka, bounces back out for Phil Foden again. Left-footed ball, has stiffed up towards the far post. Half cleared. It's Silva across the face of goal, and no one could get a touch to turn it in and win the cup for City.
Oh, great play from Phil Foden. Kept it alive down the left. Stood the cross up to the far post. Eventually it arrives at Bernardo Silva's feet. It's just on the right side, and the shot isn't accurate enough.
Well, the last time the two sides met, it was just about this stage that Manchester United got the equalising goal before going on to win it. It was Bruno with the equaliser and Rashford with the winner on that occasion back in January. And Manchester United looking for a late equaliser in this game again. 10 minutes to go. That's a little bit of time to be added on. Not as much as we saw in terms of stoppages in the second half as there was in the first. Ortega spotted the ball down. No thoughts of playing out from the back this time. It's the City fans that you can hear. And the ball will be cleared away to our left-hand side by Ortega. Mickey?
Yeah, just as you were looking at Ortega taking too much time there, Jim, I think he was given a yellow card by Paul Tierney.
First shown to City player Wan-Bissaka and Fred are in the book for United. Foden has just been fouled by Fred. Picks himself up and looks very disdainfully at Fred as he walks past him, and just a few words between them, and then a good-natured hug. Foden knowing that he's won that instalment of the battle. Gundogan will go across and stand over this free kick, but then he will walk away. So to Bernardo Silva. Phil Foden to come across and take it. Manchester City leading Manchester United by 2-1. They're so adept at being able to see games out when they've had an advantage. 80% of their games this season in which they have led, they have held on to win. Foden taking this free kick short. Bernardo Silva back to him. Here's Ilkay Gundogan, gets towards the byline, but the ball beats him to it. City made a bit of a meal of that. Goes out of play for a goal kick. It'll be taken by De Gea.
Well, that's the one person you don't want to have the ball now, David De Gea, because he can transfer it, although he's decided to play it short. But as Mickey said, that Weghorst change is there for a purpose. Now we've got to see it. What's left of the game, ball's just knocked into his feet, and unfortunately he's come from an offside position to get it.
And another change is going to be made here by United, and they're going to take Lindelof off and bring Scott McTominay on. So Manchester City, as things stand right now, 8 minutes away from leg 2 of the treble. Will they be able to complete it? The treble chance coming in Istanbul this Saturday. It's a massive week in the Champions League and the Conference League as well. We've got preview shows from Istanbul Friday night ahead of the final on Saturday. You can hear it all on Talksport. City taking the free kick into the feet of Haaland. Haaland to Stones. Back for Haaland again. Haaland making his way forward, trying to get himself into a shooting position. And then it was cleared into him by Varane, ricocheted off him, and went wide of the post. It could have gone anywhere. De Gea stood no chance there. It could have been 3-1. As it is, it's a goal kick.
Do you know what I love about Erling Haaland, right? When he turns, when he gets the ball and turns, and all of a sudden he sees that goal, it energises him. All of a sudden he looks like he's getting across the ground a yard faster than anywhere else on the pitch. And he's very unlucky there. Really good run, powerful run. He just couldn't get that shot away.
Veghorst helping it on there. And Kyle Walker knew that he had to try and play it with Garnacho putting the pressure on, and he stopped it going out of play for what might have been a corner, but it is a throw. Garnacho with it. It's been lively since coming on. Rodri knocks it away towards halfway. Ball brought down under control again by Varane. A sensational Women's Champions League final this afternoon in Eindhoven, where Barcelona were 2-0 down and have come back. They lead 3-2 against Wolfsburg in that game. Manchester United hoping to come back from 1-0 and 2-1 down against Manchester City to win this, but not too many attempts. Garnacho had that one that whistled past the post, but we haven't seen too many attempts from Manchester United in this second half. City in control, leading by 2-1. If you're a United fan, I would imagine that clock is ticking down pretty quickly for you. It's in the 85th minute now here on Talksport.
Yeah, Scott McTominay coming on means that Varane is back there pretty much on his own as a central defender. He's got Wan-Bissaka and Luke Shaw either side of him. United kind of man for man on everybody in the middle of the park. They've got to track and stay with those runners. Otherwise, City will add to their tally.
Well, needs must, I guess, from a United perspective, they've just got to gamble. Just got to try and create something. Veghorst, good ball forward from him to McTominay. He finds Rashford. Bruno Fernandes to his right. He couldn't find him. United recycling down towards Garnacho, bottom left-hand corner of the area. Rashford tried to take it on. Rodri should be able to get it away. United have a player down, hurt inside the box. Rashford getting back to his feet. Play goes on around him. Garnacho getting towards the bylines. Really good defending. Flick off Garnacho and out of play for a goal kick to Manchester City. And Rashford right in front of you, Alex Crook. Looks as though he's going to be okay.
I think he's just ran out of energy, Jim. To be honest, it is a really hot day. You've mentioned it with Rodri already. There's a lot of tired players out there. Maybe some tired supporters as well. Erik ten Hag, a couple of minutes ago, visibly trying to whip up these Manchester United fans behind me for one last effort. I suggest it's not just the fans in red who need one last effort for these final 4 minutes plus stoppage time.
And Pep Guardiola in deep conversation as well with Rodolfo Barral and also Carlos Vicens, his coaching staff, giving their thoughts about what might need to be done over the last few minutes. Garnacho trying to roll Walker, who caught him, and it's a free kick to Manchester United. And Pep wants to make a change, and he's going to be calling Nathan Ake on the look of it, Andy.
Yeah, looks like it. I think that's a wise move. I do. Just think you want as much energy out there now. You've just got to get people to block, and United are going to go that bit longer. They are going to throw caution to the wind, of course. You've just got to have people who've got the energy to get round that second ball and pick it up.
As soon as he saw that free kick conceded, Pep turned to the bench and told Ake to ready himself. He made his comeback from a hamstring injury on Sunday, and he'll be on very shortly. United will be able to bring the ball forward here. It's laid off towards the edge of the box. Rashford, again, after trying to set up McTominay, just limped away for a moment. It goes back out towards Bruno Fernandes. Fred with an opportunity to try and deliver. Can take a second touch. It comes for Rashford. Rashford playing the way that he's facing, lays it back for Shaw. United trailing 2-1. Desperately searching an equaliser to take this to extra time. Time very much against them. We're in the 88th minute here at Wembley. Left-footed ball swung inside the area. Just too heavy for Casemiro. Manchester City fans that cheer as it beats everybody and goes out of play for a goal kick. Manchester City very nearly there. They lead 2-1 with 87 gone.
Well, time is definitely running out. And Marcus Rashford's limping around at the edge of the 18-yard area D, Jim. He's pretty much finished. There's a couple of times the balls went into his feet. He's looking across to the technical area now. He's got nothing left. He's took a kick on that ankle, because that's a decent ball in from Bruno Fernandes late on in this game. But Marcus just couldn't move to get on the end of it.
City minutes away from the double and a week away from the treble as things stand right now. We'll find out together whether they do it. They hold on here. They've got that treble chance. Manchester City against Inter Milan in the Champions League final Saturday night, 8 o'clock kickoff. The big preview live from Istanbul on Friday, and our coverage starts from 6 Saturday. Haaland going up for a long ball that's played forward. Shaw's won it. Shaw playing it forward towards Garnacho. And still, City haven't been able to bring Ake on as yet. Shaw clipping one through the midfield. Akanji's there first. And an excellent first season he's had in Manchester City blue. Laid off by Grealish. Akanji playing it forward. Lovely ball between the lines. İlkay Gundogan still with a chance potentially to emulate Stan Mortensen and score a hat-trick in an FA Cup final. He's pulled it back here and almost able to get it onto the feet of Foden. United get it away, last-ditch defending, ball out of play for a throw, and now City can make the change and bring Ake in.
Great play. İlkay Gundogan, how good is he at just popping up in those right areas at the crucial time? Again, he gets into a really dangerous position, receives a clever ball from Jack Grealish. Luke Shaw, so I beg your pardon, Jim. Luke Shaw it is, who just makes a big challenge there.
Sorry, Andy, to cut across with Grealish, the man that is coming off. And Ake has come on to replace him. Grealish leading the field on the far side. What an ovation he's getting as he makes his way down behind De Gea's goal from those Manchester City fans at that end of the ground. We're in the 90th minute of the game. It's Manchester City 2, Manchester United 1. Haaland stretching on the edge of the penalty area. Varane's going to be able to clear, just playing it forward into space, and United still looking tired. Pep not happy, appeals for a handball. Fernandes playing it forward, and they've got a free kick United after a foul on Wan-Bissaka on the right-hand side. As we prepare to tick into stoppage time, a United set piece, an opportunity from a long way out, but they will try and load the final third.
And the changes that they've made with McTominay, who's a big guy. Of course, Weghorst. Here comes Rafa Varane. So this is travelling from Bruno Fernandes, who's taking it inside his own half. This is being loaded up into the box.
4 minutes of added time. Ball played in, too high for Weghorst. Half cleared. McTominay trying to help it back into the fray. That's cleared as well. One back by Fred. Garnacho, edge of the penalty area. Left-footed ball in towards the penalty spot. City defending mop-handedly, get it half clear. Garnacho there ahead of Silva to play back in. Haaland's back defending and deals with a Fred cross, and then Manchester City will be able to whack it away high up in the air. Foden trying to bring it down. Fernandes can bring it down, and then Shaw will play it forward, and he got caught on halfway by Foden, and it's a free kick to Manchester United near the end of the first of 4 additional minutes.
Just for United, just keep putting it in the box now. Garnacho's looked really dangerous. Whenever the ball arrives at his feet, you just sense something might happen with this young man. He's got the confidence and the skill to take the ball in tight areas, but they're just going to put it in the box from distance, and they've got to fight for that second ball.
They worked it short, Fernandes playing it forward. On towards Garnacho. Played in by Luke Shaw. Heads go after it inside the penalty area. Varane trying to bundle it towards goal. It's come off the top of the bar. Back into McTominay. Wow. And then Ortega gets a hand to help it on its way onto the roof of the net. United inches away from an equalising goal.
Oh, incredible. Incredible scramble right in the middle of the box. Eventually, the ball comes out. I'm not sure whether it was McTominay or Weghorst. The ball was helped in by Luke Shaw. It's kept alive in the box. Ortega comes out, doesn't get it. John Stones jumps to try and head it, but it hits the bar. Comes back out, and from 3 yards, it looks like Scott McTominay got his head on it and just couldn't keep it down.
They get a corner in the 92nd minute of the game. This might be the chance for Manchester United. Can City repel it? Can United score to take this to extra time? 2-1 to City. It'll be in the 93rd minute by the time it's taken. It's a right-footed away swinging delivery. McTominay going up for it. It beat him, didn't fall as far as Rashford. Cleared out for Shaw. Shaw on the left-hand side of the area. It's a good turn from him. Comes down towards the touchline. Garnacho's been very lively since coming on, making a great passing angle. Left-footed ball chipped over the top. It's too long for Ake, and will beat everybody and go out of play for a Manchester City throw. And City are 90 seconds away from doing the double.
Oh, that's relief for City there. Again, Garnacho has made a difference. He's done exactly what Ten Hag wanted from him. To run at Kyle Walker, to take him on, to get to the byline, to stand something up. We've just seen an almighty scramble there, honestly, we really did. And McTominay was who just couldn't keep it down under the crossbar.
And Alex Crook pitch side again with the perfect view of that, so close to a United equaliser.
I think he should score, Jim. McTominay, point blank range. Maybe you could defend him and say perhaps he was almost too close to squeeze it underneath the crossbar, but that's a huge chance for Manchester United. There's a City player down. inside the penalty area. Garnacho watching on. United fans still in good voice. I think they appreciate the effort their team have given in this second half. Ten Hag applauding the United fans. In the end, looks like they're going to fall just short.
Well, Crookie, I'm on the same page. I think McTominay has to score there. I know it's late in the game and he's not lethal from that position, we know that, but you've just got to guide it, keep it below the crossbar. As they keep it alive, I think it's Varane with the challenge initially that bounces off the crossbar. You talk about chances at the end of 90 minutes, that was it.
Well, you're not missing anything. Walker down receiving treatment inside his own penalty area is seemingly going to be okay. Play's going to resume with a Manchester City throw over on the far touchline. There still should be about 70 seconds or so left to play once we resume. City are going to make another change. Laporte is going to come on and he will replace Walker. Walker's just picked up a knock at this stage of the game. Only seconds remaining, no point in taking any risk whatsoever. Get some fresh legs on. So Laporte on for Walker. So City are defending mob-handedly for the time that remains. The 4 additional minutes that were prescribed are now up, but probably, as I mentioned, just over a minute to go. Throw taken up the Manchester City left. Looking for Haaland. Couldn't get to it. City win the second ball. Haaland will gallop forward and he might have the pace here to be able to get to it before Varane. And he'll take it down towards the corner flag. Just keeping it out of harm's way is what Pep Guardiola's ordered. And then he briskly hits it in left-footed straight into Varane and out of play for a corner, and that should be that.
Great play. The amount of goals he scored, whenever he's released, you expect him to go straight towards the goal, but sensibly, he goes towards the corner flag, and as the United come to close him down, he just turns around and clips it against the red shirt, and it goes out for a corner on the far side, which is so precious to you, with a lead with seconds left.
They take the corner short. Try and run some more seconds off the clock. Varane is going to be able to clear for Manchester United, but in doing so it goes over the line and out of play for a throw that will be taken over on that Manchester City left-hand side. 5.5 extra minutes have been played. Only seconds remaining now. Throw taken by Ake. United still desperately trying to win possession back to get it out of their own half of the field. Headed back by Stones on halfway. High up and under from Bruno Fernandes. They'll chase after it. Akanji with a little cushion defensive header will find his goalkeeper. And Ortega controls it. Waits for Garnacho to come towards him. Picks it up. And that is it. There is no stopping it. Manchester City clinch the double. And the treble is 1 win away. United unable to defy the odds or deny the neighbours. At the end of a frantic season, the most breathtaking of starts. Ilkay Gundogan's goal just 13 seconds in the platform for Manchester City. And although a controversial penalty got United back on level terms, Gundogan struck again early in the second half. His double clinches the double. The most extraordinary Manchester derby has been won by City. They've won the league, they've won the FA Cup. Next stop, Istanbul, where they might emulate Manchester United's treble-winning side of 1999. It's on the cards. They're 90 minutes away from the treble. United couldn't stop them here. City have beaten them and won the FA Cup.
7th time Manchester City have done it. Big handshakes, big hugs between Guardiola and Erik ten Hag right at the end of the game, just as the full-time whistle blow. Mutual respect there. And the fact is that Manchester United, as we've seen all season, are not as good as Manchester City, and so the City players are all in a huddle. Some of the staff have come on, a lot of the subs have come on, some of the unused ones, they're right in a circle, dancing around, out on the pitch. Ortega's in there, Edison's gone in there. They are loving it. If you think the FA Cup doesn't mean anything, think again. Guardiola's joined in, arms around Haaland as they go over to the City fans, leaping in the air, punching the air. This means the world to these players. Manchester City have won the FA Cup. Part 2 of the treble completed. So let's see what they've got next Saturday in Istanbul. Talksport will be there. Preview show Friday night, then live commentary on Saturday night. But for the moment, they're going to soak this in. The City flags are flying, blue and white. They are loving the success and the players are loving it as well. And you know what, I think Manchester United pretty much gave their all in this, but just weren't up to the standard required to be a match, or even more than a match, for Manchester City. And it's 2 goals from the captain, İlkay Gundogan, that have given Manchester City this FA Cup in the first ever Manchester derby final. There was a lot of hype before the game, but I think over the course of the 90 minutes it's lived up to it. But Andy Townsend, see the City players celebrating, Haaland leaping 10 feet into the air and punching the air as well as he went over to the City fans. That's what it means.
Yes, that is absolutely what it means. They realise they're creating their own headlines, their own legacy, and it's the second instalment is now in the back pocket. They've got a big week ahead of them, and I'm sure they'll get stuck into that at the right time, but the here and now, quite rightly, on this brilliant day, this FA Cup final day. It's been so lovely to be back here on a 3 o'clock kickoff. We've had a lot of drama. We haven't had the best football match. It's not been like that, but there's been so much to watch, so much to talk about. We got the right result, Aid. The best team won this.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. I have to agree with that. And yet, listen, we've seen better quality from City at times during the season. I get that. And at times they're on the back foot. And if you think Mickey Gray, Erling Haaland, he hasn't scored. It's 1 in 7 now. He's gone. Let's see what he does in the Champions League final. But actually, he's more impact in his own box. He did some major defending at set pieces for City.
He did. He certainly played his part for his team, Adrian. I think that's 2 now appearances at Wembley without a goal. But he won't care. As Andy touched on there, that's 2 in the bag, the Premier League and now the FA Cup final. And you saw his celebration running across to the Manchester City supporters at the end there. That's how much it means to these players and how much they want this. And I think they just wanted it a little bit more than Manchester United today. I think you could see that from that first minute, after 12 seconds taking the lead with an incredible goal. And they never let up. Whenever Man United got any space and time, they were around them, they surrounded them in packs, started to win the ball back, and just knew that they needed enough to get this job done today. Well, they certainly did that in the second half with Gundogan's second goal.
Proper fire drill in the United end. The players are over there in that half of the pitch applauding their fans, the ones that have remained. But you're just getting a flavour when you look at the United fans that are left in the stadium. You look at the United players. Bruno Fernandes absolutely downcast. I think they've realised it's a double defeat for them. They've lost the FA Cup final. They've also blown the opportunity to stop City emulating their treble. That's got to hurt, Andy.
Yeah, of course it will. That's going to disappoint them. But they never really quite got going enough. They never. I mentioned they didn't have to play well, but they needed to have a spell, and they needed to give their fans the feeling that they might be able to just get back in and win this. Every time Garnacho got it when he come on, yeah, I could see potentially something happening, but too many of them, particularly in the middle of the park. Bruno, Eriksson, never saw them with the ball at their feet enough. What we did see was Gundogan popping up with the ball. We saw De Bruyne with the ball, and their better players, City's better players, I think made the difference today.
But I'd also say, Mickey, and you've watched this Man United side a lot this season, I think United fans have every right to expect more from Sancho, even more from Rashford, who's probably had a golden, 3 months this season. He's got to do it over the course of a whole season. They've every right to expect more from their players.
With the quality that they've got, Adrian, and where they want to be, there's no doubt about it. They have to perform every single week. We've heard that from Erik ten Hag on numerous occasions. It's not just about performing once and then having a couple of weeks off. You have got to do it every single week. You're playing for Manchester United. And if they switch off, when this sport starts to get bigger and better, that's when those players will get an opportunity. And the players that get left out, they'll get left behind. That's what happens in the Premier League.
It does. Liam Gallagher celebrates, arms aloft in the stands. The hospitality bit, anyway. The City players are still out there dancing with their fans as well. I mean, the look on Guardiola's face, he's so happy to have won the trophy. I mean, this means the world, not just to the players, but to the fans, the staff, and the manager as well. Think about what Guardiola's won in his career. 6 titles in his first season at Barcelona. He's already won a couple of Champions Leagues, won titles in England, Spain and Germany. and now he's won his second FA Cup, and it looks like it's the first trophy he's ever won.
Yeah, I mean, actually watching him today, because obviously those technical areas right below us, when you watch him, every time a loose pass goes astray, he literally was dropping to his knees and thumping the floor, thumping the ground.
He's living it all, isn't he?
Yeah, and then he's bouncing back up and he's yelling and screaming, and then in the next minute he's clapping, applauding, thumbs up, well done, making sure that everybody is switched on and alive. He really is. Every time an opportunity to pass the ball forward isn't taken, he reminds that player, why didn't you go forward with it? Why didn't you pass it forward when perhaps they should have? And I just think he's such an incredible coach, and we're so lucky, so lucky to have him here.
And you know what, Mickey, I think that was a brave decision from Guardiola, about 60 or 70 minutes in, when he took De Bruyne off, and maybe he's not 100% fit. I don't think he's been 100% fit all season, Kevin De Bruyne. He was still having an impact. He was drawing players. They wanted to man-mark him. But he was having a big impact, I think, in at least taking United players out of the equation, but also trying to make things happen for Manchester City as well. At 2-1 up, I think it's a bold decision to take him off and bring Phil Foden on. I love Phil Foden, but I think that's a bold decision, but it keeps him fresh for next week as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He had such an impact in that second half, Kevin De Bruyne, didn't he? I mean, we were talking about it in the comms. They tried to man-mark him with Fred, but he couldn't get anywhere near him. And that just shows how good Kevin De Bruyne is. He's clever with his brain, but he's also clever with his feet. And he looked out on his feet. Look, we talked about how hot it was going to be out there today. Well, certainly he proved that. He was absolutely shattered, gave absolutely everything, as Rodri did. But what a performance. I was going to touch on this, Adrian, in the game. John Stones. What a performance.
Unbelievable, Mick.
He was unbelievable.
He was so good, he was. You're absolutely right. I mean, look, Gundogan quite rightly will get the man of the match for 2 goals, and ultimately his goals define this game that we've just witnessed. But I thought De Bruyne was terrific. But John Stones, look, he's no longer just doing a job in there, as I mentioned in commentary.
The drag back at the edge of the 18th.
He's an accomplished deep line central midfield player with all the awareness that you need. He was excellent today. He was really, really good.
Yeah, but when you think a couple of years ago, people are wondering, John Stones shouldn't be in the England squad. He doesn't get a game for Man City. He's got a future at Man City. And now, I think he is man of the match, by the way. I don't care about the goals. Centre-back, full-back, centre-mid, not just a jack of all trades, he's a master of all trades as well. He can pass the ball on a sixpence. He's one of England's very best players right now, Andy.
Absolutely right. He is. He was truly outstanding today. I love watching Manchester City. I love what they do. United, you're right, they didn't give it up. Of course they kept going. They were shell-shocked, stunned to go behind in 13 seconds, and got back into the game. And you wonder there, are they going to pick it up? Are they going to be the team to emerge second half? It didn't happen. They never really got going at the start of the second half, and it was City that gradually started to wear them down and leave you feeling that a goal was imminent.
Well, the United players are making their way up the steps to get their losers' medals. Bruno Fernandes, followed by Harry Maguire, Marcus Rashford, who looked flat out by the end. Christian Eriksen got taken off, didn't have the impact he wanted. De Gea, question marks over him for the winning goal without any doubt, as the rest of the Manchester United players, Luke Shaw, Jadon Sancho, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Fred, and the rest all make their way up those steps. There's quite a few of those who've got some serious winners' medals in their career. Rafael Varane just goes past, but they're going to have to add a loser's medal to that number as well. De Gea, I think questions will be asked, Mickey Gray. It bobbled in, the winning goal, really, didn't it?
I mean, I couldn't believe it. The angle that it went in, how slowly David De Gea reacted over to his right-hand side. Look, late on in the game, he made a wonderful save from Erling Haaland down to his feet. But we've seen that. But it's the mistakes that are certainly happening more and more and more. And I just wonder, Adrian, the way that Erik ten Hag wants Manchester United to play, moving forward, if David De Gea has played his last game for Manchester United.
Possibly. You may possibly be right. I'll tell you what's got to be heartbreaking for some of those United players. After they picked up their losers' medals, they're shaking hands with David Gill, Sir Alex Ferguson, and then one of the Glazers. I mean, Honestly, I mean, the United fans looking at that just tells the story in itself, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, is Sir Jim Ratcliffe in the line behind him? Is El Nassim in the line? We just don't know what's happening off the field with Manchester United. Look, it's been a really successful season for them. I know they're disappointed because they've lost the FA Cup to their local rivals, Manchester City. But they've got one trophy in the bag. They're in Champions League. I think it's something certainly to move forward with.
Let's go pitch side with Talksport's Alex Crook.
Fair to say that John Stones, a man of the match contender, is enjoying the celebrations. Double fist bump to the Manchester City fans behind me, and then a handshake from Sean Wright-Phillips, a former FA Cup winner with City, and Dimitar Berbatov and Nani, two United legends as well.
Yeah, the City players are still on the pitch. The Manchester United players have made their way back down after picking up their losers' medals. Erik ten Hag just coming down the steps away to our right as we speak. We're waiting for City to make their way up the steps, but yeah, questions will be asked of David De Gea. Ortega in the City goal didn't concede from open play in the FA Cup this season. Bruno's penalty, the only one he conceded on the run, looked good with his feet. We were talking about him before the game. I think that's a contest that Pep's got to think hard about over the summer, Ederson or Ortega.
Absolutely. And I think that's what Pep wants. He wants competition for places. He doesn't want Ederson just to know that he's going to be playing every single week, albeit he's an outstanding goalkeeper himself. But this is Manchester City, Adrian. You know, if something happens to Ederson, they know they can rely on Ortega to come into that starting 11, and you don't even feel it. Where I look at Manchester United, when there's 2 or 3 players missing for them, Casemiro, for instance, when he was missing for 4 or 5 games with his red cards, you missed him. You don't see that with his squad of Manchester City, and that's what Man United have got to kind of emulate. They've got to try and catch up over the next couple of transfer windows.
They have. Just looking at 1 or 2 others as City make their way towards the steps to come up and collect that famous old trophy, the Football Association Cup, the FA Cup. A word on Gundogan, Andy Townsend. It could be his penultimate game for City. The Champions League final might be his final game for the club. Let's see if he hangs around or goes in the summer. Captain fantastic, and a goal machine as well. Who knew?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, he's such an intelligent footballer, such a smart player, and he's just got this knack, this ability to get into good areas, and the ball arrives and he can finish. Left foot, right foot. The first goal today was stunning. The second one was speculative, really, and it's found its way through a gap, but he still had to hit it. He still had to have the courage, the conviction to go after it. He's going to be a miss. He's going to take some replacing, because if he does go, because he's just got that top player mentality, what I like about him. No matter who he's playing against, what team he's up against, he always seems to be able to perform and drag the best out.
Am I allowed to criticise Pep? He's wearing a hoodie. Come on, it's FA Cup final day. It's at least a shirt and a jacket, my friend, but he won't care. He's won the cup and they're going up to collect it. And let's hear that trophy lift from your commentator, Jim Proudfoot.
So it's Manchester City's day. United denied Everton the double in 85 and Liverpool the treble in 77, but there was no denying Manchester City today. 732 teams set out on the road to Wembley. First ties played back on August the 5th. Victorious night for the likes of Market Drayton, Seaham Red Star and Baffin's Milton Rovers. What a journey it's been. History for the likes of non-league Aldchurch and Chippenham for Wrexham, who came within seconds of beating 2 of the Championship's top 6. For Stevenage, who won at Villa. The remarkable run to the quarters of Grimsby Town. Captivating storylines confirming this great competition's return to the rudest of health. But one by one, the vanquished have departed, leaving only one to take the famous walk up the Wembley steps, their ribbons adorning the oldest trophy in the game. And those ribbons are blue, because one side has stood out through the 731 ties, impervious to shock. Manchester City, the last one standing, their name inscribed on the cup for a 7th time, but the circumstances have surely never been sweeter than this. Derby Day was their day, vanquishing the old foe to complete the league and cup double for the 2nd time in 4 years, and setting up their treble chance in Istanbul next weekend. The noisy neighbours on song have never been louder. And those City players have filed past us from where they've turned, walked up another flight of stairs, making their way along past the FA Cup. Rico Lewis didn't play today, but has had a part to play in this FA Cup run, receiving his medal. Ilkay Gundogan standing, waiting. The man that will be lifting the trophy in a moment. Now shaking the hands of the dignitaries, looking at the cup, just 3-4 feet away. Pep turns, kisses the medal. It means so much for him. His 28th major trophy, his 10th with Manchester City. And he'll be hoping that numbers 29 and 11, the sweetest of the lot, is now just a week away. Gundogan shakes the hands of Prince William and stands and turns and takes centre stage. 2 down, 1 to go. The double is done. The treble chance lives on. And how fitting that it's 2-goal Ilkay Gundogan who will lift the famous trophy to the Wembley sky. The winners of the 2023 FA Cup are Manchester City. A ticker tape welcome for them. Pictures of delight. Gundogan with Edison with his arm around his shoulder, dancing up and down, lifting that cup, bringing it down to his mouth, kissing it, and then lifting it back up again before passing it down the line. Manchester City, worthy winners of the Premier League, worthy winners of the FA Cup, and dreaming now of what Istanbul might bring.
Only Inter Milan can stop them now. And that's next week, live on Talksport. Friday night, we'll have a show from Istanbul. You'll be able to see loads of stuff on our social media platforms, on Twitter and on YouTube and Facebook as well. But those City players are soaking up the glory right now and loving the fact they've won the FA Cup. Make no mistake, the FA Cup is well and truly back. Manchester City have won 5 Premier League titles out of 6. They've already won it this season, and here they are loving the fact that they've won the FA Cup. And why not? Jack Grealish kisses the cup, lifts it high in the air. He was teasing and tormenting Aaron Wan-Bissaka all afternoon on that City left. No goals for Haaland again, but he lifts it high. To the City fans, they absolutely adore the big blonde Norwegian, the one they call the striking Viking. Akanji cost 15 million quid. It's ridiculous. First season, he's all set for a treble. He's already got a double. Not quite the season that Calvin Phillips expected. A lot of injuries in his way, but he's lifted the trophy too. So too, John Stones, one of the players of the season. I suppose with all the goals Haaland scored, nobody else was going to get a mention, were they? Diaz as well, and Bernardo Silva at the end of the line before. And we'll wait for it. The manager still all smiles. Pep Guardiola lifting the FA Cup trophy. Big kiss. Like a big French kiss for the FA Cup. He loves it that much. We're going to be getting reaction from here at Wembley very shortly. Alex Crook is down there. He'll be speaking to winners and losers on FA Cup final day on Talksport. And the phone-in is coming your way very shortly. Dean Saunders and Darren Bent will be taking your calls in around about 15 minutes' time. 03717 223344.